Here we go now.
Apologies for being tardy for the party. Let me know if you can hear me, see me, all that good stuff. This is our Real Housewives of Atlanta season 17 final recap of part 3 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion. How would you guys rate it from 1 to 10? If you're watching on YouTube, there's a live chat poll, but if you're watching on Twitch or X, or if you're watching on Facebook, let me know how you would rate this reunion. If you are a part of our Patreon baddies, you were live on Patreon last night watching and talking and recapping. You already know my initial thoughts. I rewatched it this morning, and I can't say that my thoughts have changed dramatically, but there is some context to certain parts that I want to talk about as well. But overall, I still think part 2 was better than part 3. And by the time we were like 45 minutes in to the reunion, I said, so wait, whoa. When are we going to talk about Porsha and Shamia and the mamas of it all? And I'm not one of the people to say, look, I'm not going to talk about anyone's mama, but I'm also not going to say we can't talk about the mamas on this show when the mamas are grown adults, have signed off on a release to be featured on this show, and have talked about the other people on the show. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, we can't talk about the mamas. No, we're going to talk about the mamas. Your daughters brought the mamas up. They're grown. They brought the mamas up, and we want to know the tea. We want to know the tea. Okay? So I didn't expect them to dig deeper into the mamas sleeping with somebody, or I didn't expect them to do that, but it felt sort of like we got to the end, and I don't know if they want to drag this out for season 18. We don't want you guys to drag it out for season 18 because you're not going to talk about it. And there's so much context that we don't know about. So this is why I'm not team anyone on this, because I know that there's so much more family stuff. There's so much more to the situation than we even know. I know it's not just about a daycare situation. I know it's not just about a man. There's just so much. There's so many layers to the situation. So I'm not going to even take a side on this. However, I do feel like that, and that's not that I was looking forward to that part of the reunion, but by the time we watched part 3 of the reunion, I was like, wait, we're almost done with the reunion, and we barely have talked about Shamia and Porsha and what went down in Scotland. And then Porsha at the reunion is basically shutting it down. I don't mind her shutting it down when it comes to Pilar, but she's like, and we're not going to be talking about my mother. Oh, but it happened, and you know how this show works. So how are we not going to be? How are we not going to be talking about? Okay, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. All right. But if you're just joining us, don't forget to like today's video. It's an easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. As you can see, it has been a hot boy summer in New York City, a hot girl summer in New York City. And I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about anyone that's lived in New York City during the summer, or if you visited during the summer. We have had a fantastic summer. So this week, I'm going to be celebrating by wearing all my favorite jerseys from the World Cup, all my favorite jerseys that I have of the Knicks, because I have so damn many, but I have the rest of my life to wear all of them because I feel like this is just the beginning of a new chapter for the Knicks. Maybe, hopefully. Hopefully. So we've had a really good summer here in New York City. We're in Mumdanistan. All good things are kind of happening here. And even if you don't live here, you're watching and you're jealous, and that's okay. That's okay. Come visit. Come visit us here in New York City. All right, Labor Day weekend is coming. We just had the first Jamaica, celebrate first Jamaican, Independence Day parade here in New York City and Brooklyn. But we have the Labor Day parade, which is all the Caribbeans. Okay, that's coming up. When is Labor Day? Like 2 weeks away, right? Is it next week? No, it's not next week, because next week is the 31st. So it's the following week. All right, who's going to the parade? Secret. I've never been to the parade. Shh, shh, shh. Okay. I've never been to the parade. But my siblings always go, or they used to back in the day. And honestly, I was happy when they would go, because then I'm like, okay, they're not at home. And then I'm at home on my Labor Day, my day off. They're not home bothering me, being annoying. So I used to love it when the Labor Day parade would come around, because they would all leave the house, all of them. And I'd be at home, me and my sister, may she rest in peace. We'd be at home, like chilling, having a good time while they were out, partying all day. I don't know what they were doing, partying all day at the Labor Day parade, okay, in Brooklyn. Okay, Belize has all the Caribbean. I saw Trinidad was having their own celebration. Shannon says the Belize celebrated on Saturday in Brooklyn. Well, shout out to the Caribbean Massive. All right, the big one is happening Labor Day. All right, big family shenanigans, right, Millie? I was like, I couldn't wait for them to leave the day of house. The youngest of 6. I was like, all right, everybody's gone. They're not being annoying. So I was happy about that. But that's just me. Not sneaking people into the house. I was a little kid. My mother would be home. My mother didn't go to the parade. My mother didn't go to the parade. I don't know if she's ever been to the parade, but she didn't go to the parade. She'd be home, but my siblings, they would go. I'm like, good. They never brought any food back, though. I'll say that. Speaking of Labor Day, what a segue. It's not a segue. Kempire After Dark returns to New York City September 25th at the Green Room 42. Meet and greets are available, of course, but live stream tickets are available as well. So for those that can't make it, this is where you can get your live stream on and be a part, but you also get to keep the show for a week after. Scan the QR code here on your screen. There we go. Or head on over to KempireAfterDarkLive.com/NYC. Get your tickets today. If you want to meet me in person, this is your opportunity. This is the last live show for 2026. No promises that there'll be any for next year. I'm just saying, you just never know. The world might not be here. Okay. Just saying. But if you haven't experienced a Kempire After Dark live show, it's not what you get here on social media at all. Tea is being spilled, jokes are being made, fun is being had, and don't be afraid to come on your own. So many people come on their own and actually end up making friends. I wouldn't be surprised that some people that came on their own the last time are coming with the people that they met the last time. Okay, so shout out to everyone that's been telling me that they're coming to the live show on September 25th. Go get your tickets today. Shout out to our King's Guards in the chat. We see them. Shout out to our channel members. We appreciate them as well. Become a member at TeamKempire.com/join. I have so many links to remember. Okay, all right. Samantha says she can't hear me. Samantha, that might be a you problem, because everyone else can hear me. Anyone else can't hear me? Did my sound go out? You might want to swipe out and come back on in. Swipe out and come back on in. Let me say thank you. We had already with a super chat. Fashion Avenue to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Fashion Avenue says, longtime listener and not here for RHOA because I only watch the season from your recaps. I love that. I love that you guys do watch the channel, because that's fantastic for us. But not great for Bravo. Just here to share some good news that I am a fiance. Oh, you know what? Come on now, fiance. I am fiance now. Sending love to everyone near and far. First of all, Fashion Avenue to you. Congrats to you. Have you guys decided? Is that normal when you get engaged? Do you immediately figure out the day or the time? Like, what's the timeline for stuff like that? Is there no timeline? I'm just wondering. Not that I'm getting engaged yet. Where's my ring? Y'all all think I'm already married or something like that. But like I said, by the time y'all find out, damn, TJ says, we hear you loud and clear. Clear. She's very excited. She's very excited. She sent the whole super chat. She's a longtime listener, probably has been watching from the bushes, which I'm okay with, as long as you're watching and you are here and you like the video. But she's so excited that she is engaged. She had to let the world know of our nearly 1,000 people watching right now. and that the thousands that end up watching later. So congratulations to you, ma'am. Please do not invite me to the wedding. And it's no offense to you. It's no offense to you. I just don't like weddings like that. You know, you gotta get dressed up. You gotta get a gift. But I guess you don't really have to get a gift. You just give cash, right? All right. Oh, hold on. We got a few people engaged. SK says, I'm engaged, about to get married in 2 weeks, and I'm still figuring out what's going on. SK, what do you mean you're still figuring out what's going on? First of all, congrats to you. Who else is engaged? If you're engaged in the chat or just got married, let us know. We just had someone get married. Shout out to our Facebook community. They let us know the other day that she had just gotten married. SK is engaged and she's about to get married in 2 weeks. Congrats, SK. Okay. But what are you trying to figure out? Well, I guess, the last minute details. I can't even imagine. I would hire a wedding planner. There is no way. But even if you have a wedding planner, I still feel like there's a lot going on. Okay, hold on. Everybody, they might not be engaged, but they're like, I'm married now. I'm married. All right. Curl says married 16 years. Okay. Oh, Susan says, hold my hand and say, I'm married 24 years. Okay. You see how we get sidetracked? This is exactly how we get sidetracked. Deep the Stallion, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Deep the Stallion says, are you going to the MNL sold out show? What's MNL? Wait, what is that? What's MNL? Can someone tell me what that is? What's MNL? And it's sold out, so how am I going? I don't even know what MNL is. All right. Oh, wait. Deep the Stallion says, I was married a long time ago. Well, okay. I'm just vamping to give people time for the notifications to get pushed out before we get into Real Housewives of Atlanta's season 17, part 3 reunion. Hold on. I'm going to, okay. Hey, Dr. Jen says, I'm going to the next one in DC, Kempire. Next one, what? Married 14 years to a firefighter. Excuse me, Heather. Okay. All right. 19 years. Dark and Lovely says, we just celebrated 19 years of it. That's a blessing. That really is. 16 years, 24 years, 19 years. That is truly a blessing. Okay. Okay. We are sidetracked officially. Beauty by Latrell says, I just got married 2 months ago and just left the driver's license to change my name on my driver's license. Well, congratulations. I know you guys, look, you see what you started, Fashion Avenue? Look, you see what you started? All right. All right, guys. If you haven't already, again, be sure to like today's video. This is our final recap. Well, it won't be our final recap. It won't be our final recap of Real Housewives of Atlanta. It won't be. And I'll explain soon why I say that. Of course, at the live show, we'll be talking about it on September 25th because we can't. It's only a few weeks away. So we will continue to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm sure they will. Swoleston says, I'm still single. Me too, Swoleston. It's all right. It's all right. Oh, really? Hold on. Paige says firefighters are the best husbands. At least they're gone for a couple of days per week. Oh, damn. Well, all right. Oh, hold on. Myra said, it's the same Myra from our Patreon. Myra says, not divorced and thriving. I am screaming. Donna says married 35 years. Okay. Ann says, or Anby says that RHOA is fake AF. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Part 3 was lackluster for me for Real Housewives of Atlanta. It wasn't, I can't even say part 2 was great either, but it was definitely better than part 1. But part 3, I expected a little bit more, and we never found out who was supposed to sit in that chair. I'm guessing maybe the guy with the bagpipes, the bagpipe player, was supposed to sit in the chair. But okay. Look, okay. All right. I don't know. Velda says married 45 years. Wow. That's amazing. Shout out to the replay crew. Replay crew, if you're married or just getting married or about to get married, or if you've been married for a very long time, be sure to let us know. Aisha says we didn't need a part 3. I can't say that we didn't need it. I think the edit, based on what we got in part 1 and 2, the edits for it just was lackluster. For me, it was anticlimactic by the time we got to part 3. I don't know. I wasn't feeling it at all. Even watching it again, I'm like, this is silly. This is silly. All right. Before we get to the actual recap, I appreciate all the super chats, guys, but I also appreciate you liking today's video and sharing today's video. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. All right. Oh, I forgot to do something. Hold on, y'all. Let me do this while I'm live because I literally kept on saying, remember to do this, remember to do this. And I forgot to do it already. So let me just do a little tech stuff behind the scenes. Please hold. Please hold. Please hold. Please hold. Let me just do something. And as I'm doing, keep liking up the video. Okay. Okay. Let me just do this. Okay. All right. Back to this. Let me say thank you. Shadrika, thank you so much for the super chat. Shadrika says, I'm so sad, Kemp. My daughter has a recital the same day as the Kempire After Dark. I bought the live, though. That's okay, Shadrika. I understand. People have things going on. And I much rather you be there for your daughter's recital. Because, look, not to get too personal, but I remember there were a few things as a kid that my parents didn't show up for. And I'm not hurt about it now, but then I was. So, Shadrika, show up for your child. Okay? All right. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. And I appreciate you getting the live stream. Again, the live stream you get to keep for 1 week after. So I encourage people, even if you come to the live show, get the live stream if you want to watch it again. All right. And so many people, the last one, watched it multiple times in 1 week. So shout out to y'all. Look out for Lauren. I love that name. Look out for Lauren says this episode could have been an email. Honestly, it's one of those emails that you roll your eyes and be like, what? As per your last email, get out of my face. Brandy, thank you so much for the super chat. Brandy says MNL equals Carlos King's Monday Night Live. So what did he ask me? Whether or not I was going? No. No, I'm not going. Okay. Okay, let me have my cassava shake because I barely had time to even eat as I was preparing for today's live. All right, you like my shades? Okay, I got this in Mexico City. All right, let's get to this episode, okay? Because we're going to be here like 3 hours. I already know we are, which is fine because we will be taking calls in a moment. So buckle up. Okay, hold on. Carolina says, got my live stream ticks. Can't wait. Thank you, Carolina. We appreciate the support. Foxy always does. Foxy says, I always watch the live stream lives because Foxy's all the way there in Sweden. Okay, live stream fan. Hey, Ma Schneider. Love your name. All right, let's get to this because people will be like, damn, there's a lot of talking in the beginning because I'm giving people a moment. Replay crew, you can always fast forward, but I honestly feel like the entire show is worth listening to because this episode, in regards to the Atlanta part 3, wasn't much to watch. So we're going to vamp as much as we can. We're going to sidetrack as much as we can. We're going to get distracted as much as we can. All right. Ooh, child. Superstar 7 says, and to be honest, y'all talk too much about Carlos on Kempire's channel. 7, I appreciate you. So I was like, y'all are doing a little too much talking about that man over here. Myra, thank you so. Oh, it is Myra. Myra says, "Hey, Kemp, it is me, Myra, from Patreon with a real. Oh, with see, I can't even see because I can't enlarge your picture here. But you, okay, the hair is hairing, Myra, not like that picture you have on Patreon. I don't know what that is." D the Stallion says, "I got my ticket. You coming in person, D the Stallion, or you say you got your live stream ticket?" Okay. Ooh, exactly. Jen Falala says, "Our distractions are better than the actual shows." I have to say it is. And that's why this show is what it is. Okay. And if you think this is a fun show, imagine what Kempire After Dark in person with no censors is like in person. And look, shout out to the live stream folks, but there's a before and after show because we have the meet and greet where tea is spilled. We have people before the show meeting and greeting and chitting and chatting, all that stuff. Okay. Oh, D the Stallion says, yeah, I'm coming in person. Oh, I get to meet D the Stallion. What a name. Okay, D the Stallion. Exactly. Ellie says, let me grab some snacks and settle in, child. Exactly. And that's what I'm going to do. Can I just settle in? Don't mind the little stuff because I figured out, okay, we're going to be distracted for a hot second before we get to this. So I figured out my layout because I don't know if I probably mentioned this on Patreon, but I'll mention it to you guys here since we're distracted for a minute. So my couch didn't fit in this new layout. Although this new space is way bigger than my last space, not way bigger. I'm just saying it is. It's facts. It's bigger than my last space, but the layout is different. So I'm trying to figure out this new layout along with like all the pictures that I had and whatnot. I'm trying to figure out this new layout. So the sofa didn't fit the same way here as it did in the other apartment. So I actually figured out a really cool new way of doing it. And I love it because I can see the sofa right here in front of me. I don't know if the chair will stay here. I like it here for now, but I like this new layout. I got to get rid of my coffee table though. So if anyone's in the business for buying my coffee table, I'm going to post it on Facebook Marketplace. I was going to store it, but I was like, why am I storing this? I love it, but there's no reason to store it. So I'll be selling it. Okay. I digressed. The kitchen's here. You see the kitchen. I got a stainless steel refrigerator, so don't judge me. I was talking about my white refrigerator, even though it was an enclosed one. You know, whatever. Okay, Ash Chat interior designer. Who's the interior designer? Oh, can I sell it on Vinted? Because you know they were a sponsor here on the channel. Does Vinted do furniture too? I thought it was just clothes. I can't remember. Look, I can't even remember my own ad. Because if that's the case, all right. All right. Oh, Foxy says, I liked your closet, Kempire. Thank you so much. And if you're a Patreon baddie, you got a little glimpse to the closet makeover. So stay tuned for that. All right. I think I vamped enough. But since I'm vamping, let's pay some bills. And then when we come back, we'll talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta. So let me say thank you to our sponsors for today. We have quite a few sponsors. So buckle up, y'all. You got to pay the bill somehow, right? Okay, I have to talk about this because this just showed up and I have not stopped touching it since. Do you see this? This is Lola blankets, and this is genuinely one of the softest things I own. Look at this. Oh my gosh. I was just showing this to my friend and she was like, oh my God, this is so soft. You know, I'm a blanket person. Winding down usually means something on in the background and something soft around me. And this one is a different tier. It's ultra soft, luxury faux fur, and it's got this stretch to it, like 4-way stretch. So it's not stiff. It's actually moves and drapes the way that you want a blanket to. It instantly makes wherever it sits look more put together. I basically claimed it for the couch already. Look at this. You know, I just moved, so this is perfect. And it's not just a pretty piece. It's machine washable. It's double hemmed, so it actually holds up. No piling, no shedding, even after washing it. It's not precious. You can actually live in it. They've got over 20,000 5-star reviews. And honestly, once you feel this thing, you get why they call it the world's #1 blanket. This is officially replacing a few blankets I already own. For a limited time, my listeners and viewers, that's you, can get 40% off select Lola blanket products with code Kempire at checkout. Head to lolablankets.com and use code Kempire for 40% off your order. 40%. Again, lolablankets.com, code Kempire, 40% off. And after you check out, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Let them know we sent you. That actually supports the show. Wrap yourself in luxury. This is Lola Blankets. Okay. Hold on, y'all. I need to make sure make sure all my things are working here because I just realized one of my things is not playing. So let me just do something real quick. Please hold as I do this. Let me locate my file. All right. There we go. All right. And we're going to play one more ad. Slot fans, the wait is over. Lightning Link is available online for the first time ever, and DraftKings Casino has it. New casino players can play $5 and get 1,000 spins, including 500 Lightning Link spins. That's 50 spins a day at varying values for your first 20 days. Strike now to claim your offer. Download the DraftKings Casino app and sign up with the code Kempire. Then spin Lightning Link high stakes anywhere, anytime. The crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings Casino.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 and over. Physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia only. Void in Canada. Eligibility restrictions apply. Non-withdrawable spins issued as 50 spins per day for 20 days, valid for select games only, and expire each day after 24 hours. Spins values vary. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/promos. Ends August 30th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time.
All right, and we're back. More information on our sponsors will be available in the description. Shout out to everyone that said they have, they have the Lola blanket, or they're looking for the Lola blanket. They love I appreciate you guys checking out the sponsors. But back to our Real Housewives of Atlanta recap. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to let us know how you would rate the final part of season 17's reunion, part 3. How would you guys rate it from 1 to 10? If you're watching on Twitch or Facebook or on X, be sure to add us and let us know how you would rate it. All right, before we get to the actual recap, Shar says, thank you for the super chat. Shar says, married for 21 years and always twerking on the fence. Wait. What you mean, twerking on the fence about being married? Or about the arguments you guys have? Wait a minute. Brandy, thank you so much for the super chat. Brandy says, I can't come half-stepping. That's not my style. Leo here. Happy belated birthday, Brandy. And right now, my money's too funny, but I'll be there in spirit and via live stream again. Well, Brandy, we appreciate that. You'll still be there, a part of the live stream. We appreciate it. All right. It is now Virgo season. So shout out to all the Virgos. We already know they're going to start acting up. So let's say happy birthday to the Virgos. Woo, 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 Virgos. Woo, woo, woo. Okay. Foxy said it was the best episode of the reunion. Do you guys agree? I'm sure some of you do. Maybe because they were talking about some of the most popular things, like the room situation with Cynthia, the Porsha versus Shamia situation, Angela and her cease and desist from Shamia, which apparently has $100,000 on it. Shamia, you're corny for the cease and desist. I mean, I get it when it comes to what Angela was saying, because Angela didn't provide any receipts. This was probably the worst reunion when it comes to receipts. No receipts landed at all. So I'm just sort of thinking to myself, is that why I didn't find this reunion entertaining? Okay. Maddie says 2 was better. I feel like 2 was better as well, but everyone's entitled to their opinion. All right. I didn't even open my notes. Let me open my notes. Let's start at the very, very beginning. Okay. So this is K. Michelle's package. Okay. So as Andy's introducing K. Michelle's package, he then said, he does the infamous, who said that? And both Porsha and Andy say it at the same time, and they give each other a high five. I'm only noting this because I have things to say when it comes to Porsha being the darling of the network and favoritism towards her, which we will talk about more so towards the end. Okay. So they do K. Michelle's package. Not everyone got a package though. Like they talked to everyone about different things that they were going through. Like Phaedra, did Phaedra have a package? I know Pinky had a package. Shamia, they addressed Shamia stuff, but did Shamia have a package? Look, let me look at my notes because usually I will label it. No, but Shamia had a package. Angela didn't really have a package, but they talked about her daughter's storyline. Porsha clearly had a package. I feel like not everyone got like a package. K. Michelle had a package last. Yeah, so I don't know. But okay. All right. So let me start at the top. So K. Michelle's stuff. Oh, speaking of K. Michelle. Speaking of K. Michelle. So y'all know she unfollowed me on X. She unfollowed me on Instagram. Remember, she followed me when when she started filming the new season. And I told you, I was excited about K. Michelle being on the show because right before that, maybe a few months before that, there was this trending viral moment that was happening with clips from her being on Love and Hip Hop. And I said, I don't think people talk enough about how much of an iconic reality TV star she is. And I said, who knows, depending on how she does, she could probably quiet the noise of people saying, bring Nene back, bring Nene back. And based on what we got, I was like, well, it didn't land like that for me. Okay. Well, so as the season went on, she was following me. And look, just because you follow me doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about the things or call out the things. So eventually she unfollowed me on Instagram. And then eventually after that, she unfollowed me on X, which was fine because I unfollowed her back. Okay. I never followed her on X though. I unfollowed her back on Instagram, but she never blocked me like Porsha. Okay? Like Porsha. So randomly yesterday, I'm minding my own business. I'm hanging out with my Patreon baddies. I check my Instagram and it says K Michelle followed you. Look, K Michelle followed you. Did you follow her back, Kempire? No. Because we shall see how long the follow will last. Maybe until the new season begins. Well, apparently we're supposed to start filming the new season in September. So we shall see. Okay. We shall see. So K Michelle, that is breaking news. K Michelle now follows me again on Instagram. I'm sure her fans, the rebels, probably still hate me, which is fine. I've been hated by worse and better. Okay. Okay. So K Michelle's package. K Michelle's reaction during her package is so interesting to me because she doesn't take it serious. Like when they're talking about all these moments, including the rumors about what rappers have said about being with her and smells and whatnot, like she's grinning because at first she was crying about this and she was saying there was a plot and a scheme for people to bring this to the show and blah, blah, blah. But while she's watching it, she's just like grinning about it. And it was just like, so was this a plot? Were you the person behind the plot? Okay. So K Michelle says that, Andy refers to her as a confessional warrior. And Porsha corrects him as, you mean confessional gangsta. Okay. And and K Michelle corrects them and says, I'm an emotional confessional gangster. And Andy says, and tweeter. Okay. Yes. I mean, a lot of these people are. People could probably say the same thing about Angela. Angela's always tweeting her feelings, but she's just not coming across necessarily unhinged. So K Michelle explains her connection to Black, which she says there really is no connection. He came to one of her shows and he had comments there. She said that he was DMing her and talking to himself pretty much. But why didn't they bring up when she talked about him DMing her when it comes to her baked goods? Because that wasn't the only time that he DM'd her and she responded. Why didn't they bring that up? Because she did respond to when he was talking about her baked goods. So she confirms that she responded to him because he came to one of her live shows and she said, hey, handsome. Okay, thank you for the support. So Kay says, it was the word around town is that her and Drew were dating the same man. So she didn't like it when Drew said, when they were in Dallas, your friend, and Drew was like, I only said that because you acted like you were familiar with him. And Kay says she only was acting that way because of the DM exchange. All right. I know some of you were probably very confused by this back and forth. And I was probably more confused how quickly they brushed over this, because the entire season when this all started and in interviews, you were dragging the situation. You were saying that Drew was the mastermind behind all of this. And I'm thinking to myself, how are we just brushing over this? And that's probably why part 3 of the RHOA reunion was so lackluster, because there was so much Twitter and interview behavior that we just sort of brushed over it during the reunion. And I was just like, and if this was Kempire After Dark, I would say the reference I don't want to say, but basically you would just like, I want to say something, but I can't say it. I would say it during the Kempire After Dark, because that's what, basically you were setting up the foreplay of it all with no climax. We all got blue balls right now. We all got, like Casey Musgrave and that damn thing that she's been on. Have y'all seen that viral moment of the country singer? I don't know what that's supposed to be, but it looks like balls, glittery balls. Okay, this is Kempire. This is not Kempire After Dark. So basically, they were working us up for the climax, and we don't get the climax at this reunion. Okay, we do not get the climax. right? It was like all this buildup. And now, sorry, Auntie Eve, I'm so sorry. Not blue balls. Look, I'm just like, yes, blue balls. Anyone else feel like that's what we got? All this buildup, all this internet behavior, all these interviews, and I think we're really going to talk about it during the reunion. And we get to the reunion, and now because so many people on social media were saying that they were excited about this reunion. They were like, "Oh, it's going to be the reunion." Remember, everyone's like, "This is going to be a reunion," and we get to the reunion, and it's just like we're breezing over these things, and it makes me wonder if production said for them to breeze over it because their new season is going to start literally in a month. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, how are we breezing over this? Why is Drew letting K. Michelle get away with this? She went on all these different interviews, not just on social media. She was on these interviews, Page 6, this one, that one, talking about Drew being the mastermind, accused Drew of all these things. And now you want to play it off like, well, someone told me, Mr. Andy, someone told me, and I really believe that person. And I was confused, and I don't believe that K. Michelle was confused. I think she wanted to believe that. I think she wanted to produce television. And I'm just like, you said all of this, and I'm thinking at the reunion, we're going to get, I didn't knew that we weren't going to get a receipt, but I was going to see what she was going to bring. Okay, Bree says she was still lying. Sailor Moon says K. Michelle is too much. Regina says, I don't either. Yeah, I'm just like, we just breezed over this whole situation. Matt says keeping Drew relevant. I mean, the girls are doing it. Did Drew get a package? Drew didn't get a package. Right? Drew didn't get her own package. They talked about some of the things that was going on with Drew, but so many people said Drew didn't have a storyline. I mean, at least she didn't talk about her real storyline that was going on. She briefly talked about it. And Phaedra didn't have a storyline. But I told you, if you came to the March 13th Kempire After Dark show, I told you my sources said the reason why this cast is so jam-packed is because people just weren't not bringing it when it comes to having a storyline. So, Phaedra, I know you wanted some of the things that you wanted in your storyline highlighted, but it looks like allegedly production didn't feel like it was enough to include in the season. Okay? Exactly. Your girl Pepe says, hold on, the comments are moving quick. Your girl Pepe says, too much talking in the streets. They had nothing else but reunion. P-Dub says, I thought Drew and her team was... Well, me too, P-Dub. You know when we talked about it, but they didn't even talk about that at the reunion. They didn't even talk about it. So it was sort of like there to fill. And again, that's what I heard. And I mentioned this during Kempire After Dark in March, that I heard the reason why they kept the cast so big was to fill the season, because they didn't feel like they had a full season of like story. Okay. Such a sweet sin says, what's a package? Usually their storyline for the season. That's when they have their own little segment where production shows you this is what Drew went through during the season. And you've seen it this episode with K. Michelle. You saw it with Pinky the last episode. Yeah. Okay. Caleb says it was a boring third episode. Yeah. Tears of Joy says Virgo season. Okay. Five Wisdom says, I dislike how Andy was asking questions about who told Kay about the plot. Just for Kay to say that she was agreeing with Drew that a woman that they both knew was suing Black. Yeah, but remember they cleared that up. It wasn't the woman that's suing Black that told her. That's what K. Michelle cleared up. All right. Exactly. Angel says package equals highlight reel. Yeah, it's just a highlight reel of what went on with them. Remember the last reunion of Potomac, Giselle didn't get one. And by the end of the reunion, she was like, where's my package? You didn't have one, Giselle, because you had nothing going on this season besides being in everyone's business. However, I will say Giselle and Porsha are my favorite parts of Ultimate Girls Trip, especially in this last episode, because their little key with each other is what was the most enjoyable thing. Ellie, thank you for asking this question. Why did K. Michelle get first chair? Because production wants to make it seem like K. Michelle is the next queen on RHOA. We have to, in all fairness, K. Michelle does have a longer resume both being an actual singer, an established singer, not just, Real Housewives singer. She has an established history in reality television. I think it was out of respect, and they want to kind of push her up in that way. That's why I said to you, I was like, I'm sure K. Michelle's check is not giving newbie. I'm not saying that she's making more than Porsha, but I bet her check is not giving newbie. So I think that's why they put her there. Because based on what happened throughout the season, I don't think she should have been there. But the way that they edited this episode, I know some people felt like Shamia should have been next to Andy, but the way they edited these episodes, they kind of did not show a lot of what was going on with Shamia and the rest of the group, even though there was a lot of throwbacks to it. Yeah. So I think that's why it definitely wasn't giving, oh, she had a lot going on this season and she deserved to be sitting next to Andy. For those that might be new here, that's a big conversation in the Bravo universe on who's sitting next to Andy. A lot of times it's a power position, and it's not just about what they had going on this season, because let's be honest, what did Porsha really have going on this season that deserves first chair? The only reason why Porsha's there is because of her big contract with Bravo. Okay. All right. Let me get back to this. I lost my notes. There we go. So K. Michelle says she was upset when Drew said your friend. Drew says that K made it seem like she was very familiar. The way she conducted herself in those scenes, she thought that she was friends with Black. She knew Black. And we all said that too. So K. Michelle says she was trying to get ahead of the whole oyster comment. So Andy moves on from the Drew of it all, which was so crazy to me, because you're saying that this is the mastermind and we're brushing over this and we're going to Porsha and Portia's comments about the oysters and them smelling and da-da-da. And while she's watching that scene, K. Michelle is grinning. I would not be grinning, but maybe she's grinning now because she figured that it was a scheme that someone else set up. I don't know. So K. Michelle says she was trying to get ahead of the oyster comment and the smelly vajayjay. Okay. Kay says that someone that isn't on this cast is the person that told her this information, that the cast was collecting information. I don't know if I believe that. I believe it's convenient now because she saw how the Bravo universe turned on her. Because I don't think she expected people to support Drew and be like, girl, this is not making sense. So she says that it was someone that's not on this cast that told her. And Drew claims that she knows who she's talking about. She said, is it someone that's suing or trying to extort someone for money? And I was like, wait, who's suing who? Is someone suing you, Drew? And that's why this is happening? But they wouldn't mention who the person was. At one particular moment, Porsha thought they were mentioning it was one of the women that's suing Black, but K. Michelle says that it's not. Okay. Asta says, is it Jason Lee? I don't know. I honestly think this is just a very easy excuse to blame it on someone that's not on the cast so that they can move on. I think K. Michelle, either way, you think I'm going to automatically believe someone that comes to me with some piece of information where people are like, oh, Kempire, this person was talking about you and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, depending on who it is, someone that you really trust, you're going to be like, really? However, I'm still going to have better discernment not to jump and automatically believe it until I hear it from multiple people, which has happened to me. And I just feel like she should have used her discernment. Instead of running with what someone told her, she should have brought it to the table. I think it's just very convenient for her to blame someone else. All right. So Porsha and Drew deny trying to bring up anything about these K. Michelle rumors. Drew even says, I didn't even know about the smelly vajayjay rumor. And I know some people are like, it's very convenient for Drew not to know. Not every rumor there's been so many stories about K. Michelle and her stint on reality television. Even I forget some of the stories. The other day, I remembered one of the stories that I covered in regards to K. Michelle. Or was it K. Michelle or Tamar? I can't remember. I can't even remember. It was one of them. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot they had beef with this particular person, or this was a story that I covered. So I believe Drew, and Drew says, like, I didn't even know about this vajayjay story. There's some people in the chat right now that didn't know this story. And K. Michelle told her herself. The Bravo universe, a lot of them don't know K. Michelle like that. And they didn't know this story. And now they do. And now people started Googling and schmoogling. Okay. Look, SW says, I didn't know either. Look, Miss Neem says, I never heard of it either. So I believe Drew when Drew says that I didn't even know about this story. And both Drew and Porsha deny even trying to plot and scheme. Kelly chimes in, well, it's not again. Look, it's not against. I can't even do Kelly's voice. I can't even do Kelly's voice. So I'll just put Kelly's face up here. Okay. All right. Or I'll put her snatch up here since we're talking about smelly vagina. No, I'm playing. I'm not saying that yours is smelly. I'm not saying that. But since you want to show the people your snatch, I'm just saying. Okay. All right. Where were we? I've already digressed. Okay. So Drew says she didn't know anything about that. Kelly chimes in and says, well, it's not against anyone, a housewife plotting and scheming and creating a story. I need y'all to move on. The chat. And if you're part of the replay crew, check out the chat. Okay. So Angela chimes in and says that she can relate to to Kay. And because she says when it comes to the Marcus rumors, she was trying to fit a square peg into a hole. Angela, it's not the same thing. Yes, your stuff didn't land. Your stuff was corny. It's very much like the George of it all this season. I don't think you were necessarily vindicated. I also don't think you were necessarily not vindicated either. But the whole Marcus of it, I know Marcus is getting his life being mentioned and brought up again during the season. But Angela says, I can relate to K. Michelle because, you start believing everything and running with it. I don't think those two things are the same, to be honest with you. I don't, but fine, Angela. K. Michelle basically puts the blame on Nosh for the issues that she has with Porsha. So she basically is like, yeah, it was Nosh that was the one saying. And Porsha was like, well, if he was saying that he and I were still sleeping together, or she didn't say still, that he and I were sleeping together or dating at that time, that's not true. So K. Michelle says, now K. Michelle, how convenient, because K. Michelle can go on this public platform and say, oh, it was Nosh, and no one's going to listen to Nosh because Nosh is going to end up on, on social media or on a YouTube channel and tell his side, which he did do already. Who do you believe? Do you believe K. Michelle or Nosh? Well, K. Michelle's story has changed a couple of times, so I don't even know if I can believe K. Michelle. So she tries to put the whole situation with Porsha and Nosh on Nosh. All right, fine. They're just breezing over these things. To me, it feels like production had a conversation with these women saying, we would like to bring you all back next season, but we have to, at this reunion, move forward. And I wouldn't be surprised if they edited over some of the stuff. Okay. All right. Shireen says, hey, Shireen says that the reunion was so bad. I was so disappointed. Okay. P-Dub says Nosh's interview was pretty good. That's what I heard. I only seen clips from it. I didn't get to watch the entire thing, but I did see clips from it. So let me see. So Porsha and Kay put their beef to the side, basically. They basically said, you know what? Let's move forward. Okay. But Shamia, girl, and I get what Shamia was trying to do, but Shamia, this was not your fight. You should have just let this go. This is why Shamia is not good at this job. Do y'all think that Shamia should have chimed in here? Shamia chimes in and says that Porsha is saying in interviews, the Carlos interview, saying in interviews that Kay chose the wrong team. Why are we choosing teams? Like you did? Like what you were trying to do last season? A form alliance, Shamia? So Porsha says to Shamia, she's like, well, you're saying that. She basically says, well, no, teams were formed. She says to Shamia, why are you saying I'm not like the girls in that group that thinks that Kay is a liar or delusional? Why are you saying things like that? So Shamia then brings up them talking about her being on Ambien. I thought to myself, like, how did Shamia see that or know that they said that in that unseen footage? Who told her that? Did that come up at another point? because that was unseen footage that we end up seeing at the reunion. So how did Shamia see it? Did someone mention it in her confessionals? Because Shamia says that the girls were talking about K. Michelle being delusional and on Ambien. They played back the scene and it was Phaedra that said, but I don't think Phaedra meant it in a way, because if you're on Ambien, yeah, that will affect your memory. Because they were talking about some of the delusions that K. Michelle was having during the season, and Phaedra basically says, well, you know, she was on Ambien, so she may have forgotten. But that's a fact. If she was on Ambien, not me defending Phaedra, but I didn't see Phaedra saying it in a way that was nefarious. Not like how she was doing like that, like a few seasons ago. I didn't get that's what she was saying. I think she knew that K. Michelle was on Ambien, and she was like, well, she could have been on Ambien. That's why she doesn't remember. But it makes me wonder, like, how does Shamia know about the Ambien comment? It must have come up somewhere else. But who told her? Because I don't feel like anyone at that table would have told Shamia, because she's on the outs with everyone. You know? So Kay says that Drew knows how to get under, because Andy wants to kind of clean up the Drew and K. Michelle of it all. So he's like, can you guys move forward? And Kay says, Drew, gets under my skin, but I wish nothing but the best for her with everything that she's going through. And Drew accepts it. Drew's like, all right. I really feel like someone had a conversation with them, because the fact that Drew was able to move on easy says to me, someone told her, like, just, we're going to let it go. We can talk about it. Maybe we can move forward in the new season. We want to bring back this cast. We want to secure your contract for next season, but you got to be able to move on. Because if it was me, the way that K. Michelle was dragging Drew in every single interview and on social media and accusing of her faking stuff and all that, like, I was waiting for Drew to really come there and be like, girl, I didn't know about your vajayjay rumor. I didn't know that you didn't know Black. You were on camera making it seem like you were very familiar. To me, it fell flat. Again, it was such a buildup for us to end up with blue balls. Okay? That's all I got to say in regards to that. That's all I have to. It felt like, what? Like, what are we doing? And I think that's what ruined the reunion. Because we had all this conversation, and then we had all this stuff on social media and in interviews. Not even just on social media. I can let the social media stuff go. But we had all this conversation in interviews, and still nothing. Still nothing. Yes, blue balls. We all got, all of y'all, including the ladies in the chat, y'all got blue balls. Okay? Y'all got blue balls. Let me say thank you. We have more sponsors that I want to get into. Thank you to our friends over at MyFitnessPal. Quick MyFitnessPal moment. So I met with my nutritionist this past week, and it reminded me of something in premium that I don't think enough people know about. You can export all of your data. Everything you've logged, pulled into an actual spreadsheet. Normally, these check-ins with my nutritionist, you're sitting there trying to figure out, what did I eat the last couple of weeks? And honestly, it's not accurate. Trying to remember what you ate 2 weeks ago, right. This time, I just brought the actual data, weeks of it, and it was a completely different conversation. Instead of guessing, we could look at the real patterns that she could actually tell me what to adjust. That's the whole thing for me now. It's not just the day-to-day tracking, it's a record I can take to a professional. Because your nutrition, as I keep telling you, is the foundation everything runs on. Your energy, your sleep, your recovery. And you can't improve what you can't see. Go to podcast.myfitnesspal.com. Use code KEMPIRE, all uppercase, for 15% off MyFitnessPal Premium. Thanks, MyFitnessPal. Support for today's episode comes from Square, the business platform that helps sellers become neighborhood favorites. Whether you're gearing up for a busy season or just trying to keep up with everyday demand, Square keeps your business running smoothly. From payments and POS to online orders, inventory, staff, and more, all in one place so that you can focus on your customers, not your to-do list. Ready to grow or streamline how you run things? Square is offering listeners up to $200 off Square hardware when you sign up at square.com/go/Kempire. Again, SQUARE.com/go/Kempire. Start with Square and build a setup that grows with your business. I actually started noticing this everywhere once I paid attention. The place I get my facials done uses Square. My chiropractor uses Square. Two totally different businesses, completely different services. And both times checkout is the same. Smooth, fast, and receipts already in my email before I even grabbed my bag. It's one of those things you don't think about until it's not seamless. And now that I've clocked it, I get why so many of the businesses I actually go back to are running on it. When the back end just works, the people helping you can focus on you instead of fumbling with a system. Square brings payments, POS, inventory, and staffing together in one system, so business owners aren't juggling a stack of different tools just to get through the day. And they've kept the pricing simple too. Free, plus, and premium. So you pick what you actually need instead of paying for stuff you don't. Square helps you run your business more smoothly, bringing payments, operations, and insights together in one place, so you're ready for whatever's next. Right now, listeners can get up to $200 off Square hardware when you sign up at square.com/go/Kempire. That's SQUARE.com/go/Kempire. Get started with Square and build a setup that works the way you do. Thanks, Square. And we're back, guys. We're back for our final recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But I say final, but we'll be continuing to talk about it the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. And we'll definitely be talking about it during the Kempire After Dark live show coming to New York City, September 25th. At the Green Room 42. You can scan the QR code on your screen or head on over to KempireAfterDarkLive.com/NYC. We have meet and greet tickets available. We also have live stream tickets available, so you can watch it from anywhere in the world, and you get to watch it for 1 week after the show. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Let me say thank you for the super chat. Taya, thank you so much for the super chat. Taya says, too many apologies. Did they mean it? I don't think so. It felt inauthentic. It felt inauthentic in regards to it. And what also feels inauthentic with this group is that there really is no real friendship. The last real friendship in this group was Porsha and Shamia. And even that, people are like, was that ever really a friendship? Even Porsha says that during the reunion. She's now realized that maybe there was never a friendship between them and that people had other motives. What do you guys think? Do you really believe that there was never a friendship between Shamia and Porsha? I know we talked about that before, but I'm like, damn, can you really fake it for this many years? I guess so. Because I just can't imagine that their friendship is where it is today. Can they come back from this? Because remember, they've had their challenges before on the show years ago when it came to her wedding. But they seem to navigate that without a problem since then. But according to Shamia, she says maybe she brushed a lot of things under the rug. Who knows? Someone said they were party friends. Hold on. Dia says Porsha was never a friend to Shamia. And we said that too. Like, I feel like if anyone was ever a real friend to someone, I would probably say that Shamia was more of a friend to Porsha than Porsha was ever a friend to Shamia. Shimmer. Oh, hold on, Shimmer. I lost your comment. Shimmer says, I think there was a real friendship. Porsha isn't benefiting from Shamia anymore. Ooh. Happy anniversary. Happy Pride to Shamia. Damn, not to Shamia. To Porsha and Sway. They're celebrating 1 year together. Wow. Okay, Porsha. She said she is now the lesbian expert. Okay. All right, let's move on from there and let's get back to this Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion. You guys keep liking the video. I will drop the call link for the general audience once we get to a certain amount. Live members of the channel, I will drop the call link for you guys in a moment on the community tab here on YouTube. If you would like to be a member, join at TheKempire.com/join. Also join our mailing list, TheKempire.com/join. You're missing out on exclusives that will be coming to the mailing list. Matter of fact, I am overdue to send you guys just an update and what's been going on. Okay. All right. So Damn, I'm still on K Michelle's package. What else did I have to say about this? Okay, no. So we moved on. So K Michelle basically makes peace with Porsha and Drew. Okay. So let's talk about Kelly. And Kelly's asked by a viewer, with everything that's gone on with Shamia and Portia's friendship, does she feel like she's a rebound BFF? I had a thought yesterday, and I kind of talked about this during our last live, not the RHOA reunion recap, but when we went live on Thursday and we did like an RHOA Hot Topics live. I feel like the fact that Kelly was not able to really defend Shamia about that sit down that she was there for, and she was sort of like twerking on a fence because she didn't want to upset Shamia and she didn't want to upset K Michelle. That already confirmed for me that Shamia is not your best friend. Because if you felt like Shamia was wrong, you felt like Shamia was lying, I'm not saying you have to say it in that moment. You would say it to her. I don't think you did do that. But if that's really your best friend, there ain't no way if K Michelle is lying that I'm not going to have my best friend's back. And just say that. Like, well, no. K Michelle, and there's a way of saying it. If you want to maintain a friendship with K Michelle, you could be like, K Michelle, this is what I viewed. I get what Shamia is saying. You did come across aggressive during that conversation. But I already told you when we talked about this during my last live, that K Michelle basically confirmed what Shamia said. Shamia never said that they fought or that she, put hands on her. She said that K Michelle tried to fight her. And then when K Michelle described this on her TikTok live, it was definitely giving like you were coming at her, like you were trying to fight her, like you were, fist, you got up. You said this yourself. So I feel like, at least with that, Shamia was vindicated by your own words, K Michelle, because I know you're watching. Hey, K Michelle. Everyone say hey to K Michelle. Everybody wave to K Michelle. I know she's probably like, can they see me? Can they see me? Okay. Ooh, Bless says Kelly has proved herself to be a user. I think that's a friendship of convenience. I don't know if I would say it's a rebound BFF because I don't believe that they are BFFs like that. No matter how many times you want to say it, I don't believe that they're BFFs. I think they like each other. I definitely think there's a friendship brewing, but I don't think they're BFFs. At least definitely not by my standards. That would not be my BFF by my standards. Like, in order to be called a BFF, you have to be friends with me for years. Okay. So Kelly says no because she has built a real friendship with Shamia. So she doesn't believe that she's a rebound BFF. So I asked the question, why did Kelly ask Phaedra for legal help? But Kelly says that Phaedra offered the advice. Okay. And look, I think what Kelly was alluding to, or what I've said before, I think Phaedra offered her legal advice because they both needed a scene. We've said this already during our recaps. They both needed a storyline. They both needed scenes. So, Kelly at the time could not film with her daughters. Now she can. But at the time, she could not film with her daughters. She also could not show her new man that she chose not to show. So she needed these scenes with Phaedra. But Phaedra also needed these scenes because if Phaedra didn't have these scenes, there would have been no Phaedra during the season. It's definitely giving friend of. But Phaedra says, all her scenes were edited out. Okay. But Kelly says, and remember Claudia said this as well, because Claudia says that Kelly told her this in the DMs, that she did pay Phaedra's team $10,000. But Phaedra says that's a discount because she says like the billable hours was over $60,000. Well over 60. And that's her estimating. I already knew that was a discount because I said $10,000 for legal advice. Girl, no. For her to go and show up in court and represent you, no. First of all, the legal assistants are already alone. The paralegals that are helping out with this case is going to be $10,000. So, girl, I was like, no. So, but here's the thing. Phaedra was like, why does it seem like you're coming across ungrateful? That I decided to help you. Kelly says that there wasn't much work to be done and that she had already spent $250,000 with her other lawyers. And Phaedra was like, well, I never used anything that your other lawyers did. I didn't like how Kelly was coming across with this because Phaedra really did help her. And yes, although I do believe some of this helped Phaedra have scenes, but Phaedra really did show up in court. So, I mean, you can't fake the funk when it comes to that. Phaedra really did do legal work for her and won. Now, Phaedra won a case. Okay. So, Phaedra says that she's been a good friend to Kelly, and she even introduced her to restaurateurs that could help her. And she says, I don't feel like anybody else here try to help you in that way. Pinky then chimes in and is like, well, I did. I definitely gave her advice during that time. But would I want to be taking legal or restaurateur advice from Pinky right now? No. I'm just saying, like right now, I probably wouldn't want to be taking restaurateur advice from Pinky. Yes, she's scaled and she's on her way back and she's done amazing things, but you right now might not be the time that I want to take some legal advice from you. Not legal advice, but just take some advice from you when it comes to restaurants. Exactly. Jen says, Phaedra won't be helping Kelly again. No, doesn't seem like it. Shamia says that she could not. Excuse me. Shamia gives us enough. Not me yawning when it comes to Kelly's storyline, or when I move on to Shamia. Shamia says that they couldn't come to an agreement when it comes to the rum bum. She says basically it's been crickets. So they stopped responding to you? Like, I was a little confused by what she meant. And she says that, it's a family-owned business. The father doesn't want to give up any ownership, blah, blah, blah. So basically the rum bum is no more. Okay? All of that time and effort and a party, and the rum bum is no more. Kelly talks about her closing her Nana Chicken and Waffles. So she says that she's had 3. This one she had to close because of, it wasn't doing well. And apparently it's like down the street from Cynthia's. So Cynthia says she's real hurt by it because she used to go there all the time. But apparently not enough to keep the doors open. So Kelly says that, this was the first time she's had to close the location because it wasn't doing well. How long was it open for, though? I feel like it wasn't even open long enough for that. Like, you filmed that 3 months ago, and then literally right after you guys finished filming, Drew showing up there with her own camera saying, why is this closed? So it wasn't open that long. That's kind of weird. But okay, fine. But remember, didn't she also owe money on the rent for that location too? And when you sign up for a location like this, you probably signed a multi-year contract to rent out that space. So what happens with that? That's not good. Okay, that is not good at all. So Drew addresses the recording of her taking that recording at the now closed location. And we talked about this back then, and I said it was corny back then. It's still corny. But let me tell you something. Kelly, and I know people are going to be like, Kelly, that was too far. However, it's not that it wasn't true. So Kelly's just like, she felt like that was the lame of Drew. She's like, Drew said that she was going to get food for her kids, but you don't even have your kids. And Drew was like, well, no, I do. She was like, not at that time. Drew, you kind of left it wide open. I felt it was corny. You weren't trying to be supportive. At the time, it seemed like you and Kelly were okay. Shireen says, where was the lie? For me, I was dead on arrival when she said that. I was like, I was like, damn, no. I mean, okay. And Drew was like, not you talking about the kids. Then it turns into Angela versus Kelly. And Angela says to Kelly, you got new teeth and nowhere to sleep, you broke bitch. I was like, oh, damn. You got new teeth and nowhere to sleep. And remember, I made a song about it after I saw that. I was like, you got new teeth and nowhere to sleep. And nowhere to sleep. I can see that turned into a reggae song, too. New teeth and nowhere to sleep. Just saying. Okay? She said you got new teeth and nowhere to sleep. So Kelly says that Angela is standing on 2 inches. Angela chimes back in and says, that's your money, that's 2 inches. Andy, did you guys pay attention to Andy in that moment? Andy was getting his life at the clapbacks that Angela was doing. He loved it. Okay. She said, your money is 2 inches. So for those that were probably confused at Angela posting her Range Rover on social media, I think that's because during the reunion, they didn't show this part on the Bravo version. On the Peacock version, Angela addresses this. And because during the reunion, Kelly said that Angela was, she said the Oakleys were driving around in a purple 2012 Range Rover. So Angela's like, what are you talking about? Our Range Rover is like 2021. We just got that Range Rover. I was like, God, I cannot. Kelly explains that she's already found a new home, and she had already found a new home when she had moved out of the other home, but there was sort of like this 2-week gap, and Shamia offered her townhouse, and she didn't want to take it, but Shamia insisted. All right. Okay, so they then, a fan asked the question, why would Kelly take these new expensive teeth for $70,000 instead of paying her bills with the $70,000? Andy then says, like, I mean, why didn't you, do like some sort of partnership with the dentist and pay and then take the rest of the money kind of thing? And Kelly says, how do you know we didn't do that? It's so convenient now that people have said it for Kelly to be like, oh, that's what she did, because we saw it. So many of you guys called in and basically said, I think Kelly got a partnership for the teeth. So I don't think Jarvis actually paid $70,000 for those teeth, because she was all, there's posters of her from for the dentist in the airport over there in Atlanta. She's posted this dentist on social media. And I said to you, I was like, there ain't no way I'm paying this Atlanta dentist $70,000 for 2 new teeth, and I'm posting on social media. That's not going to happen. So she alludes during the reunion that may have been what happened. Okay. I don't know if I believe Kelly. All right. Kelly says that she loves that everyone was talking about her t-shirt look that she wore in her confessional. She said it was trending for 48 hours on Twitter, and everyone was like, oh Lord, here she goes. She's just happy to be trending. Drew, in a very slight way, sings her song Delulu. And I was like, okay, Drew, on key. Okay. Oh my goodness. So she was very excited to be trending on Twitter for 48 hours. Speaking of t-shirts, Kelly, because you are the standard, that is the theme for Kempire After Dark live show. For those that didn't know, that is the theme. Dress up a white tee for our live show. Go get your tickets today. Even if you're dressing up at home, we want you to tag us in the pictures, send us the pictures of you dressing up your white tee. So everyone that's coming to the Kempire After Dark live show here in New York City on September 25th, dress up your white tee and show Kelly how you really do it. Okay? Dress up your white tee and show Kelly how you really dress up a white tee. Okay? None of this. Look, none of this white tee. She said, it's Tom Ford. Okay. Well, I don't think Tom Ford meant for you to wear it like that. Okay? I don't think he meant for you to wear it like that, Kelly. She did post a confessional look over the weekend that we didn't get to see. And we were like, we didn't need to see this, Kelly. It still did not work. It still did not work with the other looks that you had either way. Okay? Aisha says, yup, in my white tee. Okay. In my white tee. All right. Hold on. Ooh, Allie says that the fact that Kelly stole the standard comment from Porsha, well, we know that she's not the standard. Miss Nubian, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate your support. Miss Nubian says, remember, Shamia said that she and Porsha got back together after P was on the show and was getting divorced from Cordell. So who was using who? Well, I don't know. Look, I don't know. And at this particular point, I don't care because they don't care enough to be honest. But we will get to them in just a second. Oh my God, now I'm yawning. Am I bored with this part 3 of the? I must be, because I was not yawning during part 1 and 2. I must be bored with this part 2. All right, let's move on. Cynthia versus Shamia. So we do end up talking about what happened in Dallas, which to me was interesting because when you kind of pace everything that happened, this happened early in the season. You might have even forgotten that there was some beef between Cynthia and Shamia. Well, it was hard to forget because then people were doing interviews talking about it or talking on the podcast. All right. Says, yes, you were bored, Kempire. Lord, I'm sorry. Angel says, yes, you're bored. We all are, Kempire. Well, damn. I don't want us to be bored. Everyone wake up. Everyone wake up. So Shamia starts talking about why they were upset about the rooms. So apparently the rooms were dirty even into the next day. So Shamia claims that they couldn't even shower, and that's why they didn't show up for dinner. And Cynthia pointed out, but you guys still filmed, so it wasn't like you couldn't be on camera. I will stand on the fact that I really believe Shamia's issue had nothing to do with the rooms. I'm not saying the rooms weren't dirty. They showed us a little bit about the rooms. I don't feel like that was enough for them to be like, oh my gosh, I can't get ready and be a part of the show and go to dinner. Okay. So as Shamia is trying to talk about this, Cynthia is chiming in and just been like, are you done yet? I'd like to speak my piece. And she's like, well, I'm trying to speak. You're not letting me finish. She's like, well, get on then. We're not here all day. Reverting back to what I was originally saying, I truly believe the issue for Shamia is not about the dirty rooms. The issue is that Shamia feels like her and Kelly were alienated from the rest of the group in their own separate house instead of being in the house together. I think that's the issue. I think it was, and I think this was all in Shamia's head. I don't believe that they were really making them feel that way. I think it's just obvious that Porsha doesn't F with Shamia like that. But I believe Shamia took that as a dig and that Cynthia was aligning herself with Porsha and she was feeling a way about being put into a separate house with Kelly. But I'm not against them being put in a separate house because you saw what they were doing over there, twerking and screaming the entire time. I'm glad they were in the other house if I was with them. I believe Shamia was more upset about being segregated from the rest of the group. And that's how she took it. It had nothing to do with the rooms being dirty. I think they found like the room. I do believe that the rooms may have been not up to par, but she wanted to use that as an excuse. But the real excuse was she was feeling left out. She felt like Cynthia took a side. Cynthia says, well, I found it interesting that no one, when I was giving the room tours, no one had anything to say about the rooms being dirty then. No one in the group said anything. K. Michelle did make a comment about it later in her confessional, but during the room tour, no one said anything. Okay. Billy says that Sin flip-flopping and Sin flip-flopping arse picked a side. I will say this. I didn't believe that before, but by part 3, when Porsha was kind of going to Cynthia to confirm stuff that had gone on, I was like, I was like, Cynthia, you're not going to beat those allegations. You're not going to beat those allegations that maybe you picked a side and that you're Team Porsha or you're a Go Naked hair model. I mean, you are. But it kind of was giving that. But at the same time, I don't 100% believe that either. So Shamia and Cynthia had their little bit of a back and forth. Okay. So Shamia, because they're doing this whole thing where the other housewives ask each other fan questions. So Shamia asked Cynthia whether, when, hold on, let me find the question. At what point did Cynthia decide she didn't like Shamia? Sidebar, Cynthia does apologize for the room situation. Okay. So Shamia asked that question, and Cynthia denies not liking Shamia and says that they never had an issue. Shamia reveals that she gives us an update. So that ends the issues between Shamia and Cynthia. Shamia gives an update on the surrogate situation, and unfortunately, Shamia's surrogate miscarried before the first trimester, and that was the last male embryo. And Andy asked if she was going to pursue it any further, and she says, well, we don't have any more embryos. And I was like, wait, I thought they had more embryos, but that was the last male embryo. Or are you considering it done because you don't want to have any more girls? So Andy does address the fact that people have said that they feel like Gerald's pressuring her to have a boy, and she denies that. She says, if anything, she's put the pressure on herself. Her and Gerald always wanted to have a big family. And if anything, she feels like a failure because she wanted to be able to make this happen for him. D. Savoy says, is that a different surrogate? Yeah, they had a new surrogate this season than the one that they shared last season. K. Michelle, in a heartfelt moment, says to Shamia, I'm so sorry that happened to you. She really gives her some uplifting words because she's been through this process before. So she really says, she really pours into Shamia. Despite their issues, she pours into Shamia in this moment and says, I'm really, really sorry that this happened. And I'm sorry for Shamia as well. I am definitely sorry. Based on what Cynthia said during the last episode of the podcast, I already kind of knew that it wasn't good news. Like, Cynthia didn't say anything, but she's like, that's Shamia's story to tell. But I kind of had a feeling then. I was like, especially because Shamia hasn't said anything since then. So I'm sorry for Shamia in regards to that. But that doesn't mean that they can't have a child. There are other ways, but I know some people say culturally that might not be acceptable for Gerald. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for Gerald. If you want to have a big family, your family is not necessarily just blood. Okay, so then there's that. All right, so then we go backstage. All right, we're backstage. Kelly's backstage with Jarvis. The picture that Kelly shared on social media, and I'm going to show it to you because I got it here. I didn't remove it yet. This picture of Jarvis versus what we saw in... I said, come on, but I get it. She used Facetune on herself, so she did a little Facetune on him too in this picture. But the Jarvis that we see, and he's not an ugly man. I'm not going to see, some people will be like, he's ugly, blah, blah, blah. But the picture versus what we saw in person, I say, that ain't Jarvis. Look, that ain't Jarvis. So Kelly talks backstage with Jarvis about how Angela keeps jumping in. And some of you said the same thing. You said the same thing about Kelly. Here's my thing. That's their job. If they sit there mute, it's not going to be good for them. At the reunion, they have to show up. This is like their last opportunity because right after the reunion is when those contracts go out. Okay? Clarissa says, I don't know. Jarvis ain't look all that on camera. To each their own. At the end of the day, everyone's going to be attracted to who they're attracted to. Someone to do a side by side. I didn't think to do that, but I didn't think to do that, but y'all do the side by side at home, okay? All right. Angel said that Jarvis got a recast just like on Viv because so many of you don't believe that Jarvis is the same man that we saw at the party versus the guy that we see at the reunion. I don't believe that. I don't believe that, but that is hilarious. Not the Aunt Viv recast. And we're supposed to pretend like we don't notice the difference. How we go from dark skin to light skin? Annoying. I didn't think they were doing back in Hollywood. Okay, Miss Mel Magic said it's not the same one. I don't know. Maybe he gained a little weight, or maybe he lost a little weight. I don't know. All right. Fine. Look fine. Speaking of backstage, and this was like, and I get it, they didn't bring Charles out because no husbands were at this reunion, basically. So none of these ladies are married. The only person left married is Charles and Angela. And Gerald and Shamia. But Gerald barely wants to film. I don't see Charles and Gerald vibing like that. Yeah, it's not landing. Charles was hilarious though backstage though. He's a mess. Charles is a mess. And Angela says, I'm tired of them keep bringing you up. Charles, he says he will see Shamia at the Hawks game. He was mumbling. He'll see Shamia at the Hawks game running around like Barry Sanders. Angela says, get out of here, Charles. Okay? Look, get out of here, Charles. All right? All right. Speaking of Angela, so when we come back from the commercial, Angela talks about the situation with her daughter. So she announces that the fans are, you didn't see this in the Bravo version, but she announces that her fans are ready and she's brought one for everyone, and it's not going to, eat up their hair. Okay. Kelly says the fans sound like motorboats. That did make me giggle. Did that make anyone else giggle? Don't be a hater, y'all. That made me giggle a little bit. She says the fans sound like motorboats. I mean, the fans are what the fans are. You know what I mean? The fans are what the fans are. Okay. Hold on. Let me, I'm going to need me to. All right. Let me go back here. I'm trying to post the, I want to post for you guys, for those that are members. I'm trying to post the call-in link for those that are members. If you're a Royal Court member and up, I'm going to drop the call link now, even though we're not taking callers just yet. I just want to give you guys a heads up that I'm dropping it now. Team Kempire members, I'm going to drop it for you guys in a moment. Don't forget, you can also hear our recaps on the Kempire podcast. Okay, King of Pop Culture on all podcast platforms. So make sure you guys subscribe and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. All right, let me go back to my notes. So Angela gives us an update on the fans. Then she talks about her daughter and the wife. So she says, she wants to downplay the whole homophobic rumors and things like that. And I said to you, the story's just not making sense. Whatever it is, it's not making sense. So Angela says that Amari's wife used to live with them, which we found out, I think she said in an interview. She says that Amari's wife used to live with them, and she doesn't have a problem with Amari's wife. But she says that Amari's wife's family has a problem with Amari. So she says when the wife's parents come into town, Amari has to leave. That's crazy to me. I couldn't be with a partner where when their parents visit, I have to leave. First of all, I wouldn't even get married to you if that was the situation. Okay, so Kiara says they should. Wait, hold on, Kiara. Kiara says they should have let. Hold on. They should have let Charles out. He's funny. He really is, and he doesn't hold back. He's great reality television. Hence why they left what he said back in the final edit. But I get why they weren't bringing him out, because he would have been the only husband there. Because Gerald wasn't there. But you see how he was there to support his wife. Just saying. I'm not a Charles fan like that, but just saying. So we find that out in regards to Amari's wife. So apparently she got to leave the house. Angel says that couldn't be my spouse. Me either. You think I'm going to marry you if there's these family issues? No. We are not getting married until that's figured out. Or when we get married and your family comes over, I ain't leaving my house that I'm paying for. No. So Porsha shares her perspective on the situation. Pinky made me giggle and a lot of y'all didn't even hear what Pinky had to say when we were on Patreon. Pinky said, not you're the expert. And everyone starts giggling because they're like, damn, Porsha, you've been a lesbian for like 2 weeks. Now, why are you the expert? All right. So Angela says that she's always been supportive of her daughter. Her daughter came out when she was 12 years old. She even got her coming out cookies. I mean, I can appreciate that, but Angela, it still doesn't make sense what your brother said in regards to the kids finding out. Because the brother was like, well, you got to, give the kids the information. You got to, equip them with the information. And it felt like you did not want her to mention to the kids. But okay, he could have been talking about Amari. I'll say that. Okay. Kelly asked Angela, did she get coming out cookies for Porsha? Cynthia says that her and Angela bonded over both having gay daughters. Let me tell you something, Cynthia. Your daughter's not gay. She said that she's fluid. Okay? There's a difference. Okay? But no, Cynthia and Angela said that they bonded. She says that they bonded over having, daughters within the LGBTQ community. Speaking of the LGBTQ community, it just reminded me, now that I got you all gathered here, we are still doing our LGBT. I was just there yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday at the LGBT Center. Not for an event. I just had to use the bathroom. See, it's a community center. You can go whenever you want. I had to use the bathroom. I went to the community center. I was like, okay, money well spent. Everything's still functioning. The doors are still open. But apparently I got to shame y'all Shout out to everyone that's donated. I appreciate you. 100% of your donation goes to the organization. Let's keep the doors open so when Kempire is walking the streets of the village, he can go and use the bathroom or any other service. They provide so many different services at this location, and they're always busy doing something. Like even when I went there were things happening. Like it was on a Sunday. And I remember as a young gay youth, being gay when I was gay is very different than being gay today. But it's a place where people can go. And again, you don't have to be gay. You could be fluid. You could be straight. Anyone can go here if you have nowhere to go and feel safe. So this is why we want to keep their doors open. So go to any of our last couple of videos. There's a donation link there. If you're watching the replay of this, there'll be a donation link somewhere along this video. Help us reach our goal of $10,000. I already told the LGBT Center we're going to keep this fundraiser going until we reach our goal of $10,000. 100% of your donation will go to the organization. Thanks to YouTube Giving. Okay? All right. So Angela says, okay, wait. I'm just making sure I covered everything in regards to that. So Cynthia says that her and Angela bonded over having gay daughters. Pinky then has her question for Angela. She's like, where are your receipts about this lady in the basement? So Angela says that there are rumors that Pinky swims in the lady pond. And Andy's like, well, I don't think they're rumors. She's confirmed that. Pinky says, I've confirmed. I admit it. Well, Angela's like, well, where's your receipts about my husband not loving me or not liking me? And Pinky starts, stammering and says, well, maybe I made that up. So they both made it up. I don't know where Angela, this was the reunion of no receipts. All the receipts were not receipting for me. Anyone else? The receipts were not receipting for me at all. At all. All right. Mind you, we've been talking for an hour and a half. We haven't even talked about the Porsha versus Shamia. Can you believe that? There's a lot going on. If you haven't already, be sure to like today's video. It's an easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. Of course, anytime that we have a live like this, we got bills to pay. So I'm going to pay my bills and say thank you to our friends over at Boll & Branch. Have you noticed your sheets slipping off the corners lately? Or your pillows just don't feel supportive anymore? Most of us keep our bedding way longer than we should. It wears down slowly, so you don't even clock how much it's affecting your sleep until it's finally time to replace it. And honestly, most people think the fix is a new mattress, but the biggest difference usually comes from what actually touches you every night. That's why I upgraded my bed with Boll & Branch. They make everything your bed needs. Their signature organic cotton sheets, pillows, blankets, comforters, all designed to be breathable, incredibly soft, and to actually get better over time. A lot of people start with the signature sheets, and honestly, a lot of customers buy 2 sets just to rotate them. I did that. I added the waffle blanket too, and now the whole bed just feels like a different level of comfort. The waffle blanket might be my favorite. You notice it the second you get in. Before this, my bedding was fine, but it was starting to show it. Sheets losing that crispness, pillows going flat, that whole my bed is just okay feeling. The second I switched, I could feel the quality immediately. The sheets are genuinely softer than anything I've had before, and they've actually gotten softer with washing, not worse. My bed feels more like something I want to get in at the end of the day instead of just where I end up. If a friend asked me for a bedding recommendation right now, and I have a few friends that recently moved as well, this is it, no question. Upgrade your bed with Boll & Branch. Get 15% off your first order plus free shipping at bollandbranch.com/Kempire with code Kempire. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND, branch.com/Kempire, code Kempire to unlock 15% off. Exclusions apply. More information on Boll & Branch will be available in the description. Thanks, Boll & Branch. Okay. And we're back, guys. Shout out to our friends over at Boll & Branch. Shout out to all of our sponsors. All of our sponsors' information will be available in the description. Shout out to all of you for being here. I know our RHOA recaps, if you missed it and you're new to the channel, let us know in the live chat or in the comment section. But go watch the playlist. You missed a very fun season of us. I think we made it fun. When Porsha at the end says that, oh, this was a really fun season, I was like, maybe for you, but it didn't feel fun for at least me. I'm not going to speak for the rest of the audience. There were moments of fun. There were moments of actual sisterhood this season, as opposed to the times where they talked about sisterhood, but there weren't a lot. I can't say that I would look back on the season and be like, oh, that was a good season. It's gotten better. Don't get me wrong, because there was a moment why they needed the reboot, the mini reboot that they got. But I can't say that it was a fun season. Okay. Oh, Nikki said, wasn't fun for me. Wasn't fun for me. Okay. Hey, Too Foxy, you're not a new member. Why is it saying you become a new member? Do you update your credit card or something? Okay. Maybe that's what happened. The V-Life says it was a fake sisterhood. All right. Foxy says that this season was better than the last one. Yeah, I will have to agree with that. Okay. Chris says this season made me laugh. Okay. Ooh, not definitely fake sisterhood. All right. Latasha says, I've been hearing good things throughout the season. Hey, wait, you haven't been watching? Arturo says it wasn't enough mess for me. It wasn't enough mess for you? Okay. I would probably say there wasn't enough fun for me. I think there was plenty of mess. Okay. Oh, she upgrade. Okay, upgrade. All right. Because on this end, it just says new membership. But okay, upgrade. Cynthia said, I got a little coin. I'm going to upgrade my membership. All right. If you're a member of the channel, I did drop the call-in link for our Royal Court members and senior royals. I am going to drop the call-in link for our other members as well. I'm not getting to the callers just yet, y'all, because I still have a few more things to talk about. We haven't even talked about Porsha versus Shamia. Okay, we haven't even talked about that. All right, back to this. Let me see my notes. Okay, so we talked about that. Oh, damn, we even talked about Shamia's package. All right, let's talk about Shamia's package. So Shamia says that she came into the season open, based off on how everything played out last season, but she felt like an alliance had been formed. Pinky also addresses what she said during the season in regards to Shamia changing, and that, bubbly personality was no longer there. She said it was almost like this dark cloud was over her. And this is her own friend saying this. And she said, Shamia normally is a person, when she comes around, if you're having a bad day, you're going to end up having a better day because of her, which was very sweet. So Shamia says the other couch is the cloud. So they're like, oh my God. Oh my, they all have this big reaction to be called the cloud. Shamia talks about the issues that she's had with Drew and where it started and why it keeps going. And she said that, at the time, and no one asked her to defend this person, but she said that she was defending a person even though no one asked her to do it. And Porsha chimes in. She's like, well, no one asked you to defend me. And Shamia, rolls her eyes and she's like, I said that. She did, Porsha. She did say that you didn't ask her to do it. Okay. Shamia says that that no one has apologized to her. Do you think, live chat replay crew, who on this cast needs to apologize to Shamia? I can think of one person. And that one person would be Angela. Because Angela did not provide any receipts when it comes to sleeping with the Hawks, and that is very damaging information. But she said, but Angela did apologize to her during this. Yeah, but that apology was terrible, Angela. Now I'm going back to the apology. I'm like, oh, that apology was terrible. But Angela's the only one that I can think of on this cast right now that does owe Shamia an apology. Okay, Nasty says, Cynthia, what? Cynthia owes her an apology, but they hugged it out during the reunion. They hugged it out. We didn't get to that part yet, but they do hug it out during the reunion. All right. But Shamia says no one has apologized to her. Okay. Shamia says that Angela's receipts for last season didn't land. She said that, the situation with Marcus didn't land. Angela claims that Shamia knows Marcus and took a picture with him. I'm not going to look, Angela, you need to let this go, because the more you harp on this, the more you look lame to me. Marcus is definitely a thirsty one. I'm not surprised. He might have a picture with everybody on Real Housewives of Atlanta. And everybody in Atlanta knows each other or runs in the same, if you're going to an event, everybody's been at that event, probably took a picture together. The picture they took together looked like a very old picture. So I'm not surprised. Okay. I'm not surprised. So I don't believe just because she took a picture with Marcus that she may have been behind the plot and the scheme. I can't, especially with the way that Atlanta moves and how everybody shows up at these events. I can't go with that unless he says, "Oh, she's the one who told me the information." Wouldn't put it past him to say that she did, but I don't believe him. Okay. So Angela claimed you took a picture with him. You know Marcus. Angela asked, what she adds, this is her fan question. She asked Shamia, what's the biggest lie you told this season that no one would catch? Shamia says that the lies aren't as big as the one. First of all, Shamia, that says to me that you admits lying. But she said those lies aren't as big as the ones that you told this season, Angela, about sleeping with the Falcons and the Hawks. And Angela's like, I can't talk about it because you sent me a cease and desist with $100,000 on it. Well, Shamia says, well, the cease and desist says, like, if you're going to talk about it, you need to name the names of the Falcons and the Hawks. Angela keeps using the fact that there's a cease and desist. My thing is, Angela, if there was someone, you should have never said it, or you should have stood on it because you provided no receipts. Now, based on what I've seen from you, you're a great read assassin. But other than that, it's giving you're not the most honest either. In my book, you're not the most honest. All right. So apparently that cease and desist, they asked Phaedra about the cease and desist. And Phaedra says, normally if someone says a cease and desist, that means you can't talk about the situation. But I haven't seen the cease and desist that was sent to Angela. But normally it means you can't talk about the other person. But here's the thing with cease and desist. Doesn't mean that you can't talk. I got a cease and desist. Remember we talked about during my DC show from not Tyler Perry, but Tyler Perry's executive over there, because we did a story about him. And I responded because I'm not a lawyer, but I did work for a law firm. And I knew a cease and desist doesn't mean you automatically have to shut up, especially if you didn't do anything wrong. So be sure to respond to a cease and desist, which is what I did. Ask me if they've reached out. It's a year later. It's over a year since I got that cease and desist. So I responded and basically point by point said, like, what you're accusing me of, which I feel like they just sent the same email to a bunch of different people that cover the story. But I responded in kind, like, well, no, you're accusing me of saying certain things that I didn't say in the cease and desist. So I did not remove the video. And I responded. Asked me if I heard back from them in regards to it. Okay. Just saying. So cease and desist doesn't automatically mean you have to shut up, especially if what you can stand on what you said. So, Angela, I'm looking at you like you can't stand on what you said. You're using that as an excuse as to why you can't say anything. So Andy asked, why did Drew pretend that Terry surprised her with the horse? And Drew's like, pretend? I had nothing to do with it. She claims that Walter, and Andy's like, Walter, Kenya's ex-boo? He's not the only person in the world named Walter, Andy. So she claims that the hairstylist Walter invited Terry. But why would he invite this man when you clearly have shown no interest and this man stood her up? I don't understand why her hairstylist would do that. Fired immediately. I'm playing. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. Like, part of me starting to think, like, well, no, Drew, I'm starting to think that maybe you did have something to do with it. Because I don't understand why your employee would tell this man where you were or what was going down for this man to show up the way that he showed up. To me, that was weird. That was weird. So she claims that she did not. Drew claims she apologizes for the horse situation. She said that she was also blindsided by it as well. And Shamia says, that's all I need. All I needed was an apology. That is enough. She knows what Drew is going through. She's like, I don't want your money. And I'm saying it in a nice way, but the way that Shamia said it, I was like, wait, was that shade? Remember, for those that are watching on Patreon, I was like, wait, the way that Shamia said that, was that shade at saying that that Drew don't have it, that she don't have the money? Okay, but it could be true. Drew's going through what she's going through. She's in the middle of a divorce. She was in the middle of a divorce, but she's like, all I wanted was an apology. Okay, so Drew apologizes. Shamia then addresses claiming that she was trying to create a divide in the group because that has been something that's been coming up during the season. Porsha chimes in and says that a friend claims that she went out with Shamea and someone else. Not sure if it was Kelly or not. But she claims that Shamea was talking about her to this friend that's not on the cast. And remember, Porsha said this last season as well. Shamea then decided she's going to provide text messages as her receipts against Porsha. Shamea, these receipts didn't land. Do you guys think that Shamea's receipts landed? I screenshotted. Let me send it to myself so I can pull it up here. Please hold. I had to screenshot it when I was watching it. This is a live show, so I said let me share these. Okay. I already did share this to myself. Let me just upload it here, though. I didn't upload it. Let's upload it. While I'm doing that, guys, keep liking today's video. Once we get to a certain amount of likes, I will drop the call link for the general audience as well to share their thoughts on this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Okay, hold on, y'all. So many things you got to do when you do these things. Please hold. It's a live show. Can we allow me to be great? Look, allow me to be great. Okay. Let me just screenshot this. Boom. All right. Let's upload this text message exchange because the text message exchange doesn't make sense to me, but maybe it'll make sense to some of y'all. Okay, because this is proof, according to Shamea, that Porsha doesn't want her on the show. Okay, let me move to the side. So you can see the text message exchange here, okay? Hold on. So at the top there, you see that's Porsha in the gray. So Porsha says, I hope they give you what you're looking for. Good luck. I'm not sure what the context is here. But she says, I hope they give you what you're looking for. Thumb up emoji. Shamea responds and says, what does that mean? And what are you saying? Porsha responds, never mind, do what you do. What's that mean? She then says, we're getting there at 7:20, Havana. I don't understand this. Even Andy was confused. He's like, wait, what? Porsha then says, this gonna be hard that you have to go against me to get on show, but love you, so be your ass there. So Porsha explains what this means. Well, tries to explain what this means during the reunion. Okay? So Porsha claims that Shamea was throwing a party. I'm guessing maybe it's a party that wasn't seen on the show. And she claims that it has to do with this party that Shamea invited one of her exes to. Wait, which ex? Is it one of the exes that we don't know about? Because she didn't mention the name. Okay. Or was it the ex that Kelly and Shamea both dated? Is it Nash? How many people you dated, Porsha? Damn. It's okay, though. You know, hot girl summer. Oh, wait, no, you're in a relationship. You're celebrating. Happy anniversary. So Porsha says that, that Shamea has been talking to the girls from even years ago, she claims. And she's been talking about her to the other girls even years ago. And then she looks to Cynthia and says, and basically wants Cynthia to corroborate that this happened. And Cynthia does corroborate this. And Shamea doesn't deny it, at least based on the edited version of the show that we saw. Shamea doesn't deny talking to Cynthia about this. Porsha then says, and it goes even further, she said stuff like this to Nene. She said stuff like this to Sheree. And Cynthia's like, well, I can't confirm what they may have heard, but she does say that Shamea has said things to her about Porsha years ago. But again, Shamea doesn't deny it. Okay. Delicious says Shamea can't stop talking about Porsha. Disa Voice says, so weird Porsha never asked Shamea and automatically believes everyone else. Right? Especially if that's someone that's your best friend. But I already said to you, I feel like Shamea probably was a better friend to Porsha than Porsha was to Shamea. And that's not saying much because I can't say that Shamea is the best friend when it comes to being a friend, especially if you're talking about your said friend to other people on this cast. And I'm sure Candy's included in that too. I'm sure Shamia said stuff about Porsha to Candy, but I don't believe Candy ran back to Porsha and told her anything. Just saying. All right. We already have a line backstage. Everyone backstage. All right. Did I drop the call link for the general audience too? I did. Oh, not the general audience, for all the members. So all members, I did drop the call link on the community tab. I'm not getting to the callers just yet because we still haven't even gotten into the Shamia versus Porsha of it all. We just started talking about that. We didn't even talk about the Scotland of it all. All right. So we go from Cynthia confirming that Shamia has come to them and spoken about Porsha. But is she talking about Porsha in a derogatory way? Like, they never really clarify that. They just say that she's come to them and talked about Porsha. But what was said? Because then it would give us context. Because I think that's important, because you could just go to someone talking about Porsha, Porsha didn't come to my wedding, that hurt me. I don't see that as anything nefarious. You know what I mean? So unless Shamia went to them like, yeah, Porsha's not really a good friend, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But I do believe Shamia has done that, because even K. Michelle, and I know you're thinking, Kempire, you didn't believe K. Michelle before, but I do believe that they have things that they do say that are the truth. And K. Michelle reveals that she knew about the whole stuff before Scotland in regards to the parents, because they were FaceTiming in the club. Remember, Mama Morton, she FaceTimed Papa Morton in the club and was just like, baby, I'm here with K. Michelle. We at the club. I'll be home before midnight. Because nothing but the devil. Look, let's have a prayer moment. Hold my hand, K. Michelle, because you're gonna be Shamia's friend. You better be there for her. In the name of the Lord, amen. Okay? You're gonna be there. So she says a prayer. She says a prayer in the club. Mind you, Papa Morton on FaceTime. She says the prayer in the club, and she's just like, that damn Jezebel. Who Porsha? K. Michelle's confused. Who, Porsha? No, her mama. She a Jezebel too. Both of them Jezebels. All up in the hookah lounge. All in the hookah lounge. Okay. Anyway, so Shamia, you don't have the best track record, and you didn't deny it during the reunion. You didn't deny it. Okay. Should Shamia come on the channel and us talk? What do you guys think? You think I can get the truth out of her? Do you think I could ask her the questions that she's just not answering during this reunion? Lord, do I need to fly to Atlanta for an exclusive? Kurt says yes. You know what? Oh, same thing. I kind of said no, thank you. Island Person says no. I'm gonna do a community. Look, TJ says no. Well, damn. Oh, Island Person says absolutely not. Okay. Oh, Innocent says, let me tell you something. If she invites her mother there when we in the hookah lounge in Atlanta, I wouldn't be nobody's hookah lounge, because that is not my forte. We're gonna be somewhere with good food though. Five Wisdom says maybe, Cam. You can get her to be authentic. Because I'm going to be digging deep. And we're not going to do it in Sterling Hall. We're going to do it somewhere else. Maybe we can do it in the now closed Nana's Chicken and Waffles. Damn. Come on. Y'all are dragging her. Jen just says no, Kev. She might sing. We don't want that. She can sing, though. I've never said that Shamia can't sing. She can actually sing. What? Who was on V103 this morning? Emp was on V103. Who? I was on V1. You mean Shamia was on V103, Tyrese? Because I definitely wasn't. That I know of. All right. Oh, Pete up said no, she can't. Y'all are terrible. No, Shamia can definitely sing. Y'all, come on. Joey said Shamia can sing in church. Now that ain't even right. Shamia can sing. Kurt says, yeah, she can sing. Stop that, y'all. Don't rewrite history. She can definitely sing. TJ says, will you twerk with her? I mean, for good sake. Yeah, like, come on, Shamia. Show me how to twerk. Look. Look, show me how to twerk, Shamia. I know how to twerk. I haven't twerked in a hot second, though. All right. Kayla says, haters. Right? Because she could definitely sing. Joy says, but please interview Simon Gobadia. That means I would have to go to Dubai. Okay. Because he ain't coming here. That would be an interesting interview, but no, I'm not interested in interviewing Simon Gobadia. I would interest and everyone, welcome to the Kempire channel. My guest, Simon Gobadia. K Unique says, let's see you twerk again, Kempire. I really don't twerk like that. Angela says, you all can talk on the phone. Well, you know what? Y'all tighten the back of my head. That's when I know this is a good laugh. All right, let me focus, y'all. Let me finish out this damn Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion recap. All right? All right, let's talk about this portion of Shamia of it all. Okay? So Porsha says that she doesn't know why she's reliving a friendship that ended last year. I don't understand why Porsha really looked like she shut down during this portion of the reunion. She was so engaged with everything else. I don't know why. And part of me is sort of like, was she shut down because she truly is done? Or is she shutting down because she doesn't want more stuff to come out? Or she's scared of what might come out? I don't know. Or maybe she truly is just done. So she says she doesn't know why she's reliving this situation with a friendship that ended last year. And it's like, well, we're trying to talk about some of the things that played out during the season. Where Porsha refuses to talk about her mom. And Shamia says that she hasn't showed her mom the episode, but she did discuss it with her. Okay. So they play some unseen footage of Shamia saying that she only gets to see Pilar because of Dennis. And this is when she met up at Lake Bailey with Cynthia. And Porsha doesn't want to have the and I don't blame her. This is where I'm gonna side with Porsha, because now we're talking about Pilar, her daughter, who's a minor on the show. I completely understand. She doesn't want to address this because it's a sensitive topic for her. It's her daughter. So Porsha stops the conversation about Pilar during the segment, and she wants it shut down when it comes to her mother too. That's where I disagree. Your mothers have been on this show, have come on this show. They're adults. They've agreed to sign off to appear on this show. Okay. So Shamia said she didn't believe Porsha was advocating for her in Scotland. When they show that scene where Porsha goes to Angela's room and says, let's stop this. Let's not talk about this anymore. So Shamia said she didn't feel like anyone in the group had her back. And Cynthia chimes in and is like, I do feel like she did chime in to, had your back during that. Okay. Porsha claims that nothing has changed between her and the friends she shares with Shamia. However, Shamia, because that's a question that Annie, one of the fan questions is that you guys share a lot of similar friends. Has this affected those friendships? Porsha says, she's sure that the friends have seen what's been playing out on the show, but that's nothing that they've discussed. Shamia, though, claims that she heard that Porsha was talking about her to some of her friends. I believe that. I do believe this stuff is just too much and is playing out on a huge show. And you know how Atlanta can be. So I believe that any of these friends are talking about this or bringing it up like, damn, what's going on with you and Shamia? Or damn, I wish you and Shamia could figure this out. So I don't believe Porsha when she says that, no one else has brought this up in the friend group. Porsha's still friendly with Kandi. When Kandi was on her Speak On It recently, Kandi was talking about how she had saw Porsha at another party event when she was talking about the Tamar of it all, and she said she was talking to Porsha at the same party. And then, of course, we saw that Shamia went on Kandi's birthday trip. So I believe Kandi definitely has heard about what's been going on when it comes to the show from both of them. All right. So Porsha claims, again, that nothing has changed when it comes to her other friends. Shamia says, no, I've heard that Portia's been talking about me to some of these friends, and that she has been talking about her for years. All right. Porsha says that she wasn't closed off to Shamia during the season. And she says that Shamia is always looking at her with endearing eyes. If you were on Patreon last night, and if you've been following our recaps of Love and Marriage Huntsville from over the years, there was a moment between Melody Cherie Rogers and Destiny Payton on that show, because they've had their on again. They were friends at one point, then they had a fallout, and there was a girls trip. It was like the best episode I've ever seen of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Those episodes when they went on the girls trip, and they were in the hallway. They had just had I think they had just had an argument or something like that, and Destiny looks at Melody in the hallway. And she basically was looking at her with endearing eyes, and basically was just like, "Hi, sorry, I love you." So when Porsha says that every time that Shamia looks at her, she's looking at her like, "I miss the friendship," or she's looking at me with endearing eyes. Porsha says that I'm not a cold person. I'm not an evil person. So I think she had hope maybe at some point she would, feelings would come up for her later on. But after this situation and her crashing out, and literally Shamia crashed out. If we thought that there were things happening during the season that caused this crash out, no, I don't think so. Because this crash out, I don't know what triggered it for Shamia, but it was a crash out in Scotland. And Porsha says that, any hope of thinking that there was any friendship there was gone after that. She says she feels as if that she may have never had a friendship with Shamia, and that there may have been ulterior motives. That says to me that she's definitely listening to not just our recaps, what the social media has been saying about this fallout between Shamia and Porsha, that she feels like there may have been ulterior motives behind their friendship. I believe both of y'all had ulterior motives for different reasons. You maybe for the show, Shamia, and for Porsha, maybe the rooms that Shamia could get Porsha into because of Gerald and being a part of the Hawks and things like that. I do believe that it was a friendship of convenience on both sides. But that's me. You guys will let me know. If you're part of the replay crew, you'll let me know as well. What do you guys think? I definitely think that it was a friendship of convenience, and it just kind of blew up now that you both were on the show. Fast forward to what Porsha predicted. Okay. So Porsha basically says that there is no friendship between them, and there's no hopes. But Andy's sort of because Andy's a producer, he is their boss. So how are we going to move forward? How are we going to move forward if you two do not get along? I don't know. I guess they're going to continue to do what they were doing before, because it wasn't like they were really engaging with each other during the season. It's probably going to be very much like this, like they've been doing, just sort of ignoring each other and having a good time. Do you think that they'll be able to get through this? I have to say, watching the reunion, and I get why they could never be friends again, but watching the reunion, I just sort of wow, if only we could really have resolution between these two, that we're actually friends, because that's what's missing for this show, a real friendship. I don't care what anyone says about Kelly and Shamia's relationship. That's not a real friendship. It's a friendship that was formed on the show. Maybe eventually it could turn into a real friendship. It feels like an alliance because no one else is friends with Shamia on this show. But you saw what Shamia said the other day on her social media. I'm sure I still have it here somewhere. Where is it? Hold on. Where is it? Shamia. Where Shamia says, if people are ganging up against one person, believe the one person. The one person is probably a huge threat and carries the spirit of truth. Spirit of truth doesn't land the same. Spirit of truth don't really mean it's the truth. Not the spirit of truth. Isn't the truth just the truth? Not the spirit of truth. It says to me, it's sort of it's almost the truth, but it's not the truth. I don't believe that Shamia is a victim here. I don't believe that everyone dislikes Shamia. It just reminds me of that Sesame Street song, One of These Things Are Not Like the Other. And I don't think that it's everyone else but you, Shamia. I don't know how you're going to navigate this group. Like, I don't even know what advice I would give to Shamia on how to navigate this group going forward. Like, my best advice to her would be like, girl, get off the show. Focus on doing other things. You've already been a part of the show for 2 seasons, previous seasons as well. You already have a name for yourself. I'm sure it's already opened doors for you. Just take that and run with it, girl. Go live your best happy life. And I also don't believe the toxicity of this show is healthy for what you're trying to do with your family. You know what I mean? Makai says, I don't care, Kempire. Porsha is trying to play strategic with Shamia and pulling the Nene. She studied her down. Why else would Bravo prop her up as the new face of the Atlanta Housewife? I miss Kenya, man. Well, I don't know. Lexi says it's time for Shamia to leave. Absolute Alim says, stop apologizing. Go be rich and happy. But maybe, money doesn't make you happy. So maybe that's the problem. Maybe she really isn't happy. That's sad. That's really, really sad. All right. Before we move on, we got more sponsors to pay the bills around here. Shout out to all of our sponsors. We appreciate their support. Shout out to Baskin Lather. You know what's wild? For years, I watched people in my life try to force their hair into routines that were never built for them. Using the same products, the same just do this advice you see everywhere, and wondering why nothing worked. Turns out one size fits all almost never fits textured hair. It's not about trying harder. It's about using what's actually formulated for your texture. That's why I've been paying attention to Baskin Lather. As you already know, you can take a look at my beard. Their stimulating scalp and hair balm is made for curly and kinky hair specifically. 100% natural ingredients that actually penetrate the strand instead of just sitting on top and clogging things up. No petroleum, no lanolin, none of that heavy, greasy buildup. Give it about 3 months of consistent use and people are seeing real changes in breakage and shine. You all have been telling me this in the comment section. And their hydrating hair mist, aloe vera avocado oil, is perfect if you're rocking locks, twists, or braids and need something to fight frizz and dryness without messing up your style. What gets me the most, though, is the story behind it. Baskin Lather is Black-owned, family-operated. It started because CEO Shayna's little sister was misdiagnosed by a dermatologist who told her her hair might never grow back. Instead of accepting that, Shayna and her mom went and formulated their own scalp and hair oil. Today, her sister's hair is down to her hips. That's the kind of energy behind every product that they make. Explore viral bestsellers and products for healthier hair of all types at BaskinLatherCO.com. That's BaskinLatherCO.com. Use code KEMPIRE for 20% off. Thanks to Baskin Lather for sponsoring today's live. More information on Baskin Lather will be available in the description. And we're back. Shout out to Baskin Lather. Shout out to all of our sponsors, guys. Again, more information on all of our sponsors will be available in the description. All right. Live chat. Have you voted in our live chat poll on how you'd rate part 3 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 17 reunion? Be sure to let me know. Let me actually refresh my page so I can see the updated numbers. Ooh, it doesn't look good. It does not look good. With over 1,400 votes, you guys rated this week's episode with 48% of the vote, 4-6. 40% rated it a 7-10. I probably would rate it a 4-6, part 3. How would you guys rate the season, though? How would you rate the season overall from 1 to 10? Live chat, let me know. And if you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, or X, be sure to let me know how you rate the season. All right. So before we get to our callers, I do want to just finalize this part of the reunion. So we don't get any resolution between Shamia and Porsha, but we come back from the commercial for final thoughts, and he wants to know the message everyone has gotten from this season. Phaedra was like, God can do anything when it comes to the friendships that are fractured. Drew's speech at the end, for me, was the best part. Drew was like, people are not crazy for no reason. And I think that's her talking about K. Michelle. She's, apologize, take accountability, and forgive. Okay. Shamia and Cynthia end up hugging it out. And then while Shamia's up, she's like, I'm going to hug everybody else on this couch. She hugs Angela. She hugs Drew. and she hugs Phaedra. But Phaedra's like, we ain't got no problem. She's like, just in case. Just in case. Okay. So what stood out to me, I don't know if this stood out to anyone else, Andy decides to chime in because he's going to let Porsha have the last word. I thought that was really interesting because, he's the host of the show. It's okay for him to be like, I'm going to end with what I have to say. But he ends it with, he chimes in. He's like, Porsha, I'm going to let you go in a second, but I just want to say this. Remember how we ended the reunion so that we can start the new season in this space. Well, Andy, sir, Mr. Andy, we're ending very confused. We're ending with no resolution. Who really had resolution? The only people that had resolution was Cynthia and Shamia. Phaedra and Pinky kind of resolved their things, but I don't know if it's really resolved. Drew and K. Michelle just breezed over their issues. Okay, fine. But then Porsha decides to have the last word. Well, Andy has allowed Porsha to have the last word. And what she says to me was definitely giving, I'm the new prized, I was going to say donkey, but I don't mean to say donkey, but we'll say prized donkey. I mean, basically when you're being propped up by the network, no offense, but that's the way it feels. And I felt like this was interesting because I know Porsha sees it. I know Andy sees it. I know the executives see it. Anytime we talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta, people always say, bring Nene back, bring Nene back, bring Nene back. And next week is going to get even louder because the new episodes of Ultimate Girls Trip will be featuring Nene. So Porsha decides to use this moment and confirms, she's like, this is the group. I feel like we really have a really great group right now, the way that it is. I felt like, and I know some of y'all think that whole reunion between Porsha and Nene was like, oh my God. I already told you that's not real. They were playing nice because Nene wants to be back in the network's graces. They were just playing nice. Okay? She don't like Porsha and Porsha don't like her. I'm going to stand on it. Okay? But Porsha's like, this is, I feel like we got a good, really? You feel like you got a good group? None of you guys like each other. None of you really get along. Frickin' frack ain't real. You're not fooling anybody. You're not even sitting next to each other. I mean, that's not unusual. But I think they have a good group for the most part, but I would make some changes. Some changes. But I find it interesting because everyone says that Porsha is not a great anchor. But that's the way they're propping her up during this reunion, for other shows, for the network, for the face of Atlanta. She is the new face of Atlanta. Okay? Not new face. So she basically confirms, this is the group. She said, I had so much fun this season. I had the most fun I've had this season. Andy chimes is like, I had so much fun today, like I used to have back in the day. But this is Andy trying to double down on there's no need for Nene. Because remember, he was asked about this. He's like, this is the group. He doesn't like the fact that people keep saying, bring back Nene. He doesn't like that. And I don't blame him for not liking Nene or forgiving Nene. He will always give you the politically correct answer because he knows he cannot say anything against Nene because that will be it for him. Okay? Prize pony is probably a better way. I said donkey. Oh. Prize pony is the better way of saying it. That's the correct way of saying it. I said donkey. Let me crack myself up. Okay. All right. So Andy's like, this is the most fun I've had in a reunion, since like back in the day, basically. And remember what he said after the reunion. And, he always goes on his IG story and it's like, oh, this reunion was amazing. Based on what we got, it was not as great as he made it out to be. But no one really believed him then anyway. But I was hopeful because there was so much playing out on social media and interviews that the reunion would be like epic. I was looking forward to the reunion. I don't know about anyone else. And I'm not saying the reunion was horrible because we've had some bad reunions. Hey, New York. But I'm like, he's like, this is the most fun I've had in a long time. And yes, there were some moments, but you can't, especially when you've hosted all the reunions, and you cannot say that this reunion even came close to what we've seen in the past. But Andy, at the end of the day, he's never going to let you see him sweat. He's never going to make it seem like, oh, the show is not what it used to be without certain people. Blah 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 blah. Here's the thing. I still think they should do a Real Housewives of Atlanta Legacy Ultimate Girls Trip. That should be the next Ultimate Girls Trip. However, unless Kenya's going to be a part, I don't think that they should do this without Kenya. But maybe they'll finalize whatever issues they're having with Britt Edie before then. But the next Ultimate Girls Trip should be RHOA Legacy. Okay? We only have 8 people in regards to who could be on Legacy. Nene has to be a part. Kenya has to be a part. Candy has to be a part. She's been there since season 2. Cynthia. Sheree. Who else? I want Marlo there. We only got 2 more slots. Who else? Porsha. Because you know they're going to bring Porsha. One more slot. Who's the one more slot? Phaedra. There we go. Phaedra. Phaedra's usually good for an Ultimate Girls Trip. Okay? There are your 8 slots. Did I forget? We can't do Kim. They shouldn't have did Kim probably in the first. Lisa Wu. Let's see how these episodes with Lisa Wu go. Because, Nene and Lisa Wu get into it. But I'm just worried about Lisa Wu and the drinking. I'm sorry, because every time we've seen her the last couple of times, even on RHOA, she's been drunk. So I'm just a little concerned. Chris says Phaedra and Candy. I know. See, that's where Phaedra might be cut out. I definitely think that. We'll cut Phaedra out. But I kind of want Candy and Phaedra at least to have a conversation. And if they're gonna have the conversation on Ultimate Girls Trip, right? But Candy's probably not gonna do it, so Candy's out. Candy's not gonna do it, so Candy's out. All right, let's get to some callers. All right, please keep in mind the opinions of the callers do not represent the opinions of myself, the Kempire LLC, or our sponsors. Everything they say is of their own opinion, and everything they say is alleged. Okay, just keep that in mind. All right, members are backstage. Members, I don't want to have to call up my timer. Y'all can't even hear the timer. But when I cut you off, I cut you off. Okay. Because I would like to get to the general audience. Mods, can you let me know how many likes we have on the YouTube video? Because once we get to a certain amount of likes, I will drop the call link. We have over 2,000 people watching from around the world. We appreciate you guys. Don't forget the Kempire After Dark live show returns to New York City, September 25th at the Green Room 42. Go get your tickets today. Hold on, let me take this down real quick. Scan the QR code or head on over to KempireAfterDarkLive.com/NYC or click the link in the description. All right. And join us on Patreon. You guys are missing out on Patreon. We're having a good old time on Patreon. And I will be going live tonight on Patreon. So go get join Patreon, patreon.com/TheKempire. Okay. You're missing out on Patreon, y'all. We had a good old time last night. We were just having a good old time. Or Ghana. What's happening in Ghana? I see people are reacting to Bose's wedding. Her wedding looked beautiful. I'm actually looking forward to that portion of the season. And Kyle was getting her. Y'all saw Kyle with the rhythm? I was like, look at Kyle with the rhythm. Now I understand what Giselle was saying. Like, oh, she's like a black girl. Okay. I was like, all right, rhythm. Twerking. All right. Let me bring up our first caller. Miss Esquire. Happy Virgo season. What's going on, Miss Esquire? I can't hear you, Miss Esquire. Did she step away? Miss Esquire, you're muted. Miss Esquire must have stepped away. We'll come back to you, Miss Esquire. All right, let me bring up Cynthia. Cynthia, are you there?
I'm here, Kempire. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. This season, I will give this season a 7. It was okay. I do agree with you. Shamia, I don't think Shamia is fit for this show. I like Shamia. And honestly, I think that we should all normalize that, friendships, they do come to an end. And Shamia, I hope you realize that, speaking from a Cancer, that friendship with you and Porsha is over. and she should move on. And I hope this next season is better than this season. And that's all I have to say. Oh, and also Kempire, one of the content creators. I don't know if you know King of Reeds.
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned you about the colorism issue with Shamia. He's Team
Oh,
Shamia.
okay.
Yep. And Kempire, that's it. See you next month.
You too. Bye. All right. Miss Melvin said, now you pinned in my comment. Let me try Miss Esquire again. Hey, Miss Esquire, are you there? Where's Miss Esquire? Do we need to send a search party? I'm gonna come back, Miss Esquire. Someone ping Miss Esquire in the comments or something, or in on the private chat. All right, Tyler's backstage. We got some of the OGs in the building. What's going on, Tyler?
Hey, Empire, let me say this. It's time for Andy to stop hosting the reunions. Because there was a way to talk about the Shamia and Porsha situation, which should have been the last segment of the show, and get some real resolve if Andy wasn't biased and he didn't allow Porsha to run everything. Because Andy should have held Portia's feet to the fire and Shamia about both of you brought up the moms. Porsha, you brought it up first, and Shamia, you took it too far and kind of, you know, I just feel like he didn't do that, and he's letting Portia have her way. And Atlanta is going to go back right to where it was. And it's sad to see. And it's time for Andy to stop hosting. Just because you have, and I understand you with those girls for a long time, but the blatant favoritism and not holding their feet to the fire is going to lead Atlanta back to a bad place. But that's all.
Thanks, Tyler. I have to agree, but look, every time I say it, y'all think I'm buying for the job. I'll let y'all say it, okay? All right. We'll try Miss Esquire in a moment, but I'm going to bring up Angel next. Angel, what's going on?
Hey, Kempire, how are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
Good. So I watched the Peacock version, hoping it would change my mind, and nah, it did not. The part three of the reunion was pretty mid, and we could have actually had a one part 90-minute episode for the reunion. Because if we weren't going to get the resolves about the mothers, what was the point? That's what everybody tuned into part three for.
Yeah.
But I did get some final takeaways from the episode. K. Michelle told the truth about one thing this whole season, and that is that her toes are long. Second, Shania is a liar.
You know I was
And
looking at those toes.
I teach them too. I did. Shania is a liar and she can't help it. She just wants everybody to be her friend and like her. And that is why she can't tell the truth from last Tuesday. And then 59 Cent looks good on on Cynthia. And I think there was a missed opportunity by not having the three husbands that are a part of the cast on, because I had questions for Derek, if that's his name, about how he felt about Pinky and the whole bankruptcy, everything.
Ah,
I have so many questions for Gerald, but I probably would have
I
gotten
agree.
to the
Yeah, I
bottom
think
of the.
they had at least 3 husbands they could have had there.
Yeah, and then we could have got some questions answered about Gerald and the fertility issues they've been having, especially with the miscarriage. So that was a missed opportunity. And Charles is always a great time, so why not give him more than that behind the scenes in the dressing room? But that is it. I think the season overall was probably a solid 7.5, 8. I know they're not changing the cast, so we're just in for the ride next season. Hopefully, those who know they aren't bringing it step it up next season, because we're stuck with them.
All right. Thanks, Angel. I have to agree because I feel like more than ever, Gerald should have showed up because your wife is being accused of, like, well, you're being accused of pressuring her. I think this would have been a perfect opportunity for him to speak his piece and show his support for his wife. Derek had, there were moments that Derek could have chimed in during the reunion as well. And of course, Charles would have chimed in regardless. So, yeah. Come on now. Purple Yellow says Gerald is boring, full stop. Well, that's okay. But regardless, he could have at least addressed some of the things that he's been accused of this season. But all right. Let me try Miss Esquire one more time. Miss Esquire, are you there? Miss Esquire, you're muted. Okay. We'll try you later. All right. Let me bring up Kayla next. Kayla, what did you want to share? Kayla, you're muted. Kayla?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay. Afternoon, Kim. How are you?
Hey, I'm well. How are you?
Good. I thought the episode was like a 4 to 6. It wasn't crazy. But then also, I do understand when people are saying they want to be friends with everybody, because that's true. It kind of reminds me of that one episode when Nene was in her confessional saying, "Oh, I just want to be your friend." Like it gives that. It very much
Mm.
gives that. And then I did think Portia was kind of cold. And I like Portia, but maybe she's just removed and done at this point. And that's okay. You can be removed and be okay and be done with a friendship. You don't have to give everything to a person, you know?
Yeah.
Especially if you feel like you're just checked out. So, and that's okay.
Okay. Thanks, Kayla, for calling in. All right. Let's bring up Brandy next. Mods, can you let me know how many likes we've reached on YouTube before I drop the call link? Brandy's backstage. Brandy, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, how are you?
Well, how are you?
Good. The husbands, don't forget about Frankenstein with K. Michelle, too.
Oh, damn. So there's 4 husbands. Damn. So there's
Yeah.
quite a few husbands that could have been there.
Yeah, like that whole couch, dang near married, actually, besides Kelly.
Yeah.
But she got Jarvis. She do got a man, so that's, yeah.
And he was there.
Exactly.
Wow.
But I was gonna say, I did peep how Porsha had made that comment, like, this was the most fun, or she had so much fun this season, and then about how the cast was perfect at the end. And I was like, yeah, she had so much fun because she was like the big dog this season.
Yeah.
Like everybody was kissing her butt, the network. And then when I heard your perspective about her saying the cast was perfect, like, oh yeah, she's trying to make sure they don't let Nene in. Like, I thought they was cool though. Like from the opening scene, or
I told you, did you not listen to my recap of that?
I know, but they played it off good.
They played it off, right?
Yeah, that's some real fake stuff. Yes. And lastly, when Shamia got up and hugged everybody, I was so happy she didn't hug Porsha, because I was like, oh my, if this girl hugged Porsha, I swear I'm about to pull my hair out.
Porsha would have swung on her.
Huh?
Porsha would have swung on her.
Right. And then that's, oh my God. I'm like, cause she won't let it go. But even hugging Angela, I'm like, cause Angela kind of gave her a stank look at first, and then she went with it. But I was just like, oh my goodness, Shamia, girl, please toughen up. But that was all.
That hug moment was giving a YouTube video. I kind of wanted her to give a YouTube video.
Oh Lord.
That's my selfish reasons.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Brandy.
Thank you.
Take care. Fox says, why hug Angela? Because Shamia is not a real person. Okay. Because why did she hug her? All right. We're almost at 900 likes. I'm going to drop the call-in link for the general audience as well. You're lucky, because I really should wait to 900. Matter of fact, I'm going to wait to 900. All right. Let me bring up Karen next. Hold on. Well, Karen, are you there? Really Karen, turn me off. Matter of fact, I'm looking at me. All right. Let me bring up Karen next. Hold on. Karen. Well, Karen, Karen, turn me off. Looking at me. All right. Karen, are you there?
Hey, I wasn't ready. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
I only called in. This is my first time calling in.
But
2 things. I gave this a 7 because I enjoyed watching Cynthia pipe up. I really did. I felt like she held her own. She's an OG. But I don't know if anybody else noticed, but during this whole thing, they kept panning into Shamia, and she had a stank face the whole time. So then I had a stank face watching her stank face the whole time. She kept rolling them eyes. I thought they was about to fall out of her head. But anyway, I'll see you next month. I'm coming. I'll be in New York.
Okay. I'll see you.
All right. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much, Karen. Let me try Miss Esquire. We're looking forward to hearing your opinion. Where are you? Someone send help from Miss Esquire. Miss S. She probably can't hear me. Could someone hit her up? Miss Esquire, where you at? Someone that's backstage, can y'all hit up Miss Esquire in the private chat? Where you at, Miss Esquire? We want to hear what you got to say. It's Virgo season. Okay, let's bring up Toya next. Toya, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. I wanted to say I don't think Shamia is mean enough because when
Ooh.
Andy had first asked Shamia at the beginning what she thought about Portia's relationship with Sway, I would
Mhm.
have brought up the video of her preaching against homosexuality in the pulpit. Also, if I was
That
Shamia,
one that landed.
I
That one that
would
landed.
have
Toya,
talked
Toya.
about, huh?
That one that landed well for Shamia.
Why not?
Because I feel like people are like, we've seen it. It doesn't mean that people can't grow, but we've known that Portia has been with women. So, but I get what you're saying.
But
I
my
get what
thing
you're
is,
saying.
you okay with homosexuality now because you are part of the
Moving into the
LGBTQ community. But you should have always been okay with it, whether you were in the community or not. You know how that's how I look at it. But I'm sure she's grown, but I still would have been shady. I mean, Shamia just ain't mean enough. Like I would be going at these girls. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Like Shamia don't got that Kenya. Kenya was mean. She don't got that Kenya spirit. And I think that Andy and Portia are all specifically saying that this is the group, this is the cast, because they do not want another cast mix up from being forced from the higher ups. And they
Mhm.
both don't want Nene to come back because everybody knows if Nene comes back, it will be her show. Right now, Portia is running things. The girls
Yeah,
are falling in line. They need to
yeah,
bring back another OG with power, like Candy, like I won't say Sheree, but like a Kenya, somebody that has some power and some leadership skills, so where the girls won't all be up Portia's, you know. But they clearly are, and I just feel bad for Shamia. So it's unfortunate.
yeah. And I would probably say bring back Claudia. If Claudia had, I feel like Claudia's too desperate though. If Claudia had something going on with herself and her life, and she like, see if she was married and happy and things like, then I'd be like, yeah, bring Claudia back because Claudia would be able to read the girls and get the girls together. But I feel like it would be a desperate move for Claudia.
I
In my
think
opinion.
Claudia could be a friend of, but I can't
Yeah,
imagine that they didn't reach out to her in prior seasons,
they did ask her to
and
come
maybe
back
she
after her
just
last
said
season.
no.
No, they did ask her to come back the last season that she was on. They asked her to come back for the
Hmm.
next season, but she says that she regrets telling them no because they wanted just her to be a friend of, but she wasn't married. So,
Oh, that's true. And I don't think she really wants to discuss her dating life either.
so then there's that.
But they need to bring her back. She could be a friend of Kelly's or Shamia's.
That's probably what they're gonna do. They're gonna shake it up. 'Cause I know Portia probably feels like the queen right now, but that's not gonna that's not gonna stop production or the network from trying to shake things up to make it more interesting next season.
But they can't bring back, they're not going to bring back Candy, unfortunately. They're not going to bring back Kenya.
They asked
And,
Candy to come back.
and
Andy's not gonna come
who?
back. The network, they've asked her to come back. Candy.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, but I mean, who else are they going to be? It's not going to be Nene, even though that's what we need. We need Nene. But that would be some good TV
You
right there.
you're gonna get on Ultimate Girls Trap.
And we are going to talk about it. We're going to tweet about it, and we're going to force their hand.
Yep. Next
Yep.
week we're gonna do a whole live just about those episodes.
Yep. Highest rated episode, y'all. Let's do it. We got to force their hand. They
Come
want that
on.
money.
Someone said Nene or nothing. I know that's right. All right,
All right.
Toya.
Well, thank you, Kempire.
Thank you for calling in. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. We're gonna bring up Lumka. Lumka, are you there? Lumka, you're muted. Lumka? Lumka. Lumka? Lumka? Masisa? You're muted. All right, I'm gonna drop you out there because you ain't saying nothing. TJ's backstage. TJ, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey, how are you?
Can you hear me? I'm
Can you hear
good.
me?
I'm good. So, okay, I just want to put this. All the housewives lie. It's how they lie that makes the show great. because sometimes the receipts land and sometimes they don't. And I'm gonna say it again. I feel so sorry for that pillow that was holding Shamia's lame receipt. I don't understand. She's so cringy. I feel like there are moments where you can feel sorry for her, but at the same time, it's like just take accountability. The whole thing of you acting blind and narrow when you know you throw stones, you throw them and then you hide your hands. Just stand on it, right? And I understand Angela was a bit cringy this season as well in terms of just her hopping on certain things. But Angela's reads, they landed. And for the most part, she's palatable. At this point, we all feel sorry for Shamia. Like, I don't even think she feels sorry for herself. And then Kelly, most she's so ungrateful. Kelly is so ungrateful. I don't understand why she keeps chiming in about things she's had in the past. Right? People, she's talking about people who have their things together. Say what you want about them, but they have their finances together. They're living in their homes. Kelly, stop showing off with things that you had. Like, I'm sorry, but Kelly, oh my God, I'm so over Kelly. And yeah, fine, she can come back next season, but she needs to do better, or else she should just stay off our screens. That's it.
Okay. Thank you so much for calling in, TJ. Bye. Okay, let's try Lumka again. Lumka, are you there? Okay, taking down. All right. Let me bring up Ellie next. Ellie, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Hi, Kempire. Are you
Hey,
able to hear me?
say again?
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. This is my first time calling in from Australia. It's actually 5 a.m. in the
Oh
morning.
my gosh.
Yes. But I'll be quick. So I did not watch the season of RHOA. But I've been watching your recaps. But honestly, I do enjoy the cast from what I've seen of the little clips, but I will say I would prefer Shamia to leave, not only for her own sake, but for her marriage and for her family. Um, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Um, but I do think that the divide in the cast with the Shamia and Porsha of it all, it's just made the season unwatchable. Like, I don't want to watch a season where it's divided and people aren't able to come together and just find some resolution.
Yeah.
I do also think that K Michelle was a massive flop. Like, it was hard to watch. Like, this plot, we never got to the bottom of it, and
No.
I don't think we ever will. And I think she looks back and she realizes that she made a fool of herself. Like, what was the point of this whole thing? But honestly, if I am to watch next season, I would say that I would want Shamia to go and I would like to see Kelly stay. I do think she has potential. I would like to see how she kind of navigates the group without her leader. So yeah, that's it.
Oh, not a leader. Thanks, Ellie. Are you going to go back to
Thank you.
sleep?
I should because I do have work in an hour or two, but
Oh, well, no,
we'll
then you
see.
might oversleep.
I'll figure it out because I actually had a nap at 5 p.m.
Oh,
and I woke up at 2 and I went on YouTube and I was like, okay, Kemba's going live, so I'm gonna stick up and watch this.
what part of Australia are you?
I'm in Sydney.
Okay. Do you suggest someone that's going there for the first time? Not saying that I'm going yet, but I will be.
Mm,
Um, Sydney should be the spot. Where should I go?
No. Um Honestly, if you were to come to Australia, I would suggest going to Melbourne. Melbourne is a lot better. There's a lot of food spots. Also, the nightlife is better there. Um, if anything, also the Gold Coast.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thanks, Ellie, for
Thank
calling
you,
in.
Kempire. Have a lovely day.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, Miss Esquire called back in. Let me bring her up. Miss Esquire, well, hold on. Where Miss oh, there she go. Miss Esquire, are you there? Miss Esquire, you're muted. I saw you come back in, Miss Esquire. Did you walk away or you can't hear me? Miss Esquire. I see you try to unmute. Then you muted again. Must be something going on. Miss Esquire, try it. Drop out and call back in. Drop out and call back in. Okay, I'll remove her. Let's try Lumka. Lumka, are you there?
Hi, Kempire. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? Where are you calling from?
South Africa.
Yes.
I'm doing good. I'm calling from South Africa.
What time
Oh
is it?
my God. It is almost 9 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, so almost bedtime, but I always enjoy your recaps. So that's what we stay up for all the
Thank you.
time.
Thank you, Lumka.
Yeah, honestly. I must say, Shamia, oh my God. Like, I cringe every time they ask her a question or she's about to speak. She cannot defend herself.
Mm,
She doesn't know how to recollect stuff that has happened. She
mhm,
sits there and she's like, what are you talking about? And then they show something that she actually said. It's actually embarrassing. I actually think reality TV is just not for her. She's a great lady, but maybe she should just walk away. It's
mm.
hard to watch. It's
I
hard
can
to
see.
watch. Yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say. I mean, other than that, I mean, I think it was a good reunion, but it wasn't that great for part three, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shamia, oh my God. Like, I was getting palpitations on her behalf. I'm just like, she's just not good at this. She's not good at this. But anyway, thank you, Kempire. Enjoy.
You too. Thank you, Lumka. I've been saying that, but y'all keep saying that I hate Shamia. I don't know Shamia hates Shamia, but she's just not entertaining for me. And apparently not a bunch of other people. And now, based off of seeing all three parts of the reunion, it really just confirmed to me why Shamia was quiet after the reunion. Remember, after the reunion, everybody named Mama was posting what a good reunion, blah, 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 including K. Michelle. Because K. Michelle, based off the reunion, she had a decent reunion. Do I believe anything? She had a decent reunion because they let stuff go. They didn't harp on it. But all right. Makai's back. We're going to bring Makai up next. Makai, what did you want to share about the RHOA reunion?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey, how are you?
I have my notes ready, so I'm just gonna go
Okay.
through my notes.
Oh,
So this is a Real Housewife issue as a whole, not even an Atlanta issue. But we always talk about how Shamia needs to just play into the villain. The issue is nobody wants to be the villain anymore in Housewives, and once they
mm,
become the villain, they're like, "Oh snap, I want to go." Look at Liz McGraw from Rhode Island. Look at Kenya in her last tenure. She wanted to change her image of being the villain until the Brit Eady situation. But regardless, she wanted to change her image for the most part. Nobody wants to be a villain anymore because they know how the audience is receptive to villains, and Shamia doesn't want to be seen as that. And I don't fault her completely, but at this point, if this cast is gonna make her look crazy, or she's not gonna really take ownership for every little thing, you might as well just become the villain. You might as well.
mm.
um, Portia was acting like Nene during season 11. If you noticed, you noticed when it came to the Shamia segment, talking about, so I give you nothing, I give you nothing. I see you study Nene down. You really are her little sis for real. Keep studying, girl. We love it. Um, and although I don't think Shamia isn't innocent, I do see both sides of the Shamia and Portia debacle. I see both sides. I don't think Shamia is innocent at all. I do think Portia knows reality TV way better than Shamia, so she plays chess and not checkers like Shamia. We need Claudia Jordan on next season as a friend of, if we can't get Kenya or Candy back, because we need somebody to at least challenge Portia, and we know Claudia's going to do that. I think, like you said, Claudia's a little desperate, and the thing is, she'd be a great friend of, because she doesn't live in Atlanta. She lives in Dallas, which isn't that far, and she could
Mhm.
travel really in and out and just be in group scenes. But I just think she needs to, not be so desperate.
Mm.
Last two things are, last three things. For Legacy, RHOA Legacy, we actually need to get Nene, Sheree, Kenya, Candy, Cynthia, Eva, Lisa Wu, and Marlo. I'm here for Lisa Wu. I know I want to see her and Nene go at it. I know we about to see them go at it in this Ultimate Girls Trip. I want to see how it's going to be on a cast ensemble of Atlanta. Um, Portia is delusional, saying this is the best season I ever had. How is this the best season you had when your friendship broke up with your best friend? Make that make sense. Anyway, and the last point is they're I see it in general in Housewives, but not even just Atlanta, but in Housewives, they're also moving away from this like husbands at the reunion format, because like they haven't been having husbands come out a lot, other than like Rhode Island. They were the only one I've seen recently that brought the husbands out for like a part. I think they're just trying to move away from that model, because I they're because they're making their cast younger in Housewives. I'm noticing they're like, okay, well, we're making our cast younger, and a lot of these younger women are not married. So let's just host a 3-part reunion where it's no husbands. But it could have worked out really well with this cast if they did bring out Kelly does like being the villain. Whoever said that. But it could have worked out really well if they brought out all the significant others, because the only people that don't have a significant other are Drew and Phaedra. Everybody else has a significant other. I would actually love to see Sway behind Porsha. You know, I don't think we've ever seen a reunion, because I don't think Martina's ever came out behind Julia in Miami, has she?
Oh no.
Yeah, so I don't think we've ever seen a reunion where a woman has sat behind a woman, and and are on Housewives. So I think that would have been interesting to see, Sway come out and all the other, the men that can that the women that do have husbands, their husbands come out, and we just hear their perspectives on certain things, because, like we always say, the men do bring something to the show.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much, Makai, for calling in.
No problem. Thank you.
Take care. All right, before we get to the rest of our callers, I did just drop the calling link again for the general audience. But if you're just joining us, we're talking about the latest episode, the final episode for season 17 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, part 3 of their reunion. If you haven't liked the video already, be sure to like the video. If you're watching the replay of this, be sure to let us know where you're watching from and how you would rate the reunion and the season overall, and your thoughts on what happened in part 3 or didn't happen in part 3, or what you wanted to see in part 3, or what we had to say about it. Okay, before we do that, again, we're going to be paying some bills. Thank you to our friends over at MyFitnessPal. I want to be honest about something, because I think a lot of you will relate. The hardest part of tracking your food isn't the discipline. It's the tedium. It's the fact that every single day you're logging the same stuff over and over. And eventually you're like, I don't have the energy for this today. I've been moving all week. You know, this is true for me. And that's the day you fall off. That's always the day it starts to unravel for me. Not because I stopped caring, but because logging my 4th identical breakfast, I'm a Taurus, you already know I'm eating the same thing over and over again. Eating the identical breakfast that week felt like a part-time job. And if you've ever tried to track your food and quietly given up around day 5, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So here's what I finally admitted to myself. I eat the same things constantly. I'm a creature of habit. Same breakfast most mornings. When I cook, I make a big batch and I'm eating it for days. You've seen it. I've gone live cooking. My diet isn't some elaborate rotating menu. And it's like 6 things I love on repeat. And once I accepted that, I realized I'd been making tracking way harder than it needed to be. I was logging the same meal from scratch every day, like it was a brand new information. And then I actually started using a feature on MyFitnessPal Premium called multi-day logging. And it's kind of changed everything for me, because here's what it does. I log a food once and I can apply it multiple days at the same time, up to 7 days at once. So my go-to breakfast, I log it one time, send it across the whole week, done. That batch I cooked on Sunday, the stew chicken, that I know I'm eating Monday through Thursday, well, maybe Monday through Wednesday, one entry all 4 days instantly. What used to take me a few minutes every single morning now takes me about 10 seconds one time. And here's the part that actually matters, because it's not a chore anymore. I actually keep doing it. The friction is gone and consistency is the entire ball game with this stuff. And that's the thing I really want you to hear. Everybody talks about motivation, but motivation is not what keeps you tracking on a Tuesday when you're exhausted and your kitchen's a mess, or you've been moving all week and you had a colonoscopy in the middle of the week. What keeps you going is when the thing is easy enough that you don't have to think about it. And that's what this did for me. And once the logging was effortless, everything else got clearer. I could actually see my protein, stay on my goals, and keep the whole picture in front of me, even during a completely chaotic stretch. Because I keep telling you, your nutrition is the foundation everything else runs on. Your energy, your sleep, your recovery, your performance. All of it starts there. But you can only stay on top of it if the tracking doesn't burn you out first. So if you've fallen off before because logging felt too much, this is the one that fixes that. It comes to about 19 cents a day for premium, which is kind of wild for something that's basically a nutritionist in your pocket. Go to podcast.myfitnesspal.com and use code KEMPIRE, all uppercase, for 15% off MyFitnessPal Premium. That's podcast.myfitnesspal.com, code KEMPIRE. Go take care of yourself now. Thanks, MyFitnessPal. And we're back. Guys, thank you so much for everyone being a part We have a couple more super chats and more than a couple of people in line for our call-in. So we're going to get to that in just a second. I want to say thank you to Tyrese for the super chat. Tyrese says, did Phaedra get a package or did they Giselle her? Phaedra didn't get a package. Drew didn't really have a package, but they addressed some of the things that's been going on with Drew. But Phaedra didn't really have a storyline this season. So no, there was no package. Jersey made Be More Raised. Okay. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate your support as well and for being a member. J.I. says, thank you for the super chat, J.I. J.I. says, I respect Porsha stopping the mom talk. She set an important boundary. Diane seems to not want attention and hasn't even addressed Cordell's pizza on my white couch comment that people still drag her for. Well, you're right. You're right. She's never addressed that. So maybe she does not want to address this. Understandable. Tish, let me shimmy for the super chat. Thank you, Tish, for the $20 super chat and for being a member and a mod. Tish says, y'all want real, Porsha wants a check. She's going to say whatever to get to the bag, especially considering Housewives is a game. The Capricorn in me gets it. It's called political savvy in the corporate world, and it gets you far. I have to say, Tish is right. This is exactly right. Because if I had played that game, I probably would have been maybe like a director as opposed to a senior coordinator when I left. But I can't, I'm Soros. I can't be fake. I can't be fake. Which has been great for when it comes to this line of work. Okay. All right. Guys, keep liking today's video. We're going to get to the rest of our callers. We have Namaste Jade backstage. We're going to bring up next. Namaste Jade, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Atlanta? Namaste Jade, you're muted. Namaste Jade. What's going on? People can't hear me? Is that what's going on? Something must be going on with StreamYard. Because Namaste Jade can hear me. Noda Queen, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
There we go. What did you want to say about RHOA?
All I want to say is my feelings on Kelly are starting to change. I still don't like her at all, but but I think she doesn't use the tools that she has at her disposal correctly. Oh my God, Kempire, you with this picture?
I'm sorry.
I gotta be accosted with her cooter cat. That's crazy.
I'm sorry.
That's why I don't like that lady. Anyway, like, she doesn't back down. She doesn't let anybody intimidate her. She will go at anybody. But just because you are capable of doing that, don't mean you have to do that in every single scenario. Like, her trying to go back and forth with Phaedra, and like the other caller said, talk about what she did in the past. Like, oh, I paid another lawyer $250. It's unnecessary. You have to pick your battles, and she don't know how to do that. She just want to argue with everybody and flex on everybody with stuff from the early 2000s. Like, that matters. Like, girl, I didn't have to work. Everybody paid for what I did back in the early 2000s, but I was a kid. Like, come on now, let's be serious. But yeah, I need Kelly to redirect herself and stop following after Shamia, because it's obvious that she do. I don't know why she keep denying it. But that's really all I had to say.
Thank you so much, Noda Queen, for calling in. I love how everyone's really kind of keeping the time for themselves. I mean, maybe once we're back in the studio, you'll be able to. No, people won't be able to do it. Namaste, Jay. We're going to try you again. Namaste, Jay. Are you there? You're muted. Namaste, Jay. No?
Yes. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Now I can. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to say that I love watching you every time I can. And also, got her 2 seasons where she was like the main character, and I feel like for Porsha, I feel like we're never going to get a real Porsha. We're just always going to get a paid Porsha, and that's it. That's basically it. And you have a good day.
You too, Namaste, Jay. All right, let me bring up Kathy next. Kathy, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. Hi. So, I think that the union didn't bring anything much. No closure, not much resolution. I don't know. The cast is just not, to me. I think the cast works. I just wish that they just be more authentic, just be more real. Try to get to know each other. I feel like sometimes when you like with this group of ladies, they hear one thing about another person that they don't give that other person a chance to get to know them, and it
Mm,
kind of taints that whole relationship. Me and my daughter was just watching Real World this weekend. I'm older. I was like letting her watch it, and I was like, you see how they brought seven strangers together, and they
mm,
was able to make a great show, and
mm-hmm.
they made a great show because everyone was just being themselves. They was really trying to get to know each other, build real relationship, and it made a great show. So even if these ladies don't really know each other, still a chance to make a great show, but you have to be real with each other. That's
But
what makes
remember,
it
the real
real.
world came before like there was any other example, so they didn't really have anyone to kind of, they had to just be themselves.
Right, but they had 28 seasons. And
Well,
each season, I think it was like 28. And it feels like even though it was the same formula, they still brought seven strangers together and they still made a fantastic show. So it's still a good possibility, but you really have to like take out the outside noise, get to know each other, and just be real. Go with the flow. You don't have to be on no one side. Get to know people for who they are. Build your own, relationship with them. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But that will be more real than to fake things. And I also called in because of the whole husband comment. I think that's true, but I will say with New Jersey cast, their husbands, they have real good chemistry. I think the husbands are better than the wives. So I think the reason why they don't bring the husbands out is because these husbands don't really have good relationships with each other, or they lack, there is no relationship at all. So what is the point of bringing them on the stage?
mm,
That's my thought, because I think Jersey, they always bring out the husbands and they make the show even better. So I don't know. I just feel like I just wish they would just be more real with each other. Next season, and bring Claudia. I think Claudia will be good. You know, so and the
well,
Tauruses stop being stubborn, because y'all Taurus are stubborn people. I have to say that. I'm sorry. My brother's a
look at
Taurus,
it.
and y'all stubborn. And when y'all don't want to have the conversation, y'all don't want to have the conversation. Y'all will ignore the conversation.
Look,
And that's not good for tea. That's what Shamia is doing. And Shamia likes to throw the stone and hide her hand. No, you have to face your own truth. But that's coming from a Gemini.
well, that explains a lot. Bye, Kathy.
Bye.
That explains a lot. All right. All right. Let me get to the. Oh my God, we have a line. Let me get to Lovely Day. Lovely Day was. Oh, here go Lovely Day. Lovely Day, you're muted.
I'm gonna be good today, Kempire.
Okay.
Anyway, I am so tired of that little leprechaun. Kelly, girl, stop. Everything about your life is a lie. You saying you paid 200 some $1,000 to for another lawyer and he didn't do nothing for you, and Phaedra paid 10,000 and got you results. So you need to be grateful and you need to stop. You always coming for somebody else's finances and yours look like crap. And I don't know why they brought Cynthia out there, but those women on that couch, I think all of them need therapy. I wouldn't trust none of them, because every time you tell one something, they go back and tell the other one, and that was causing so much conflict with between Portia and Shamia. Because Cynthia went back and told everything that Shamir was saying. And people keep talking about Shamir was a better friend to Portia. But you got to realize this. Shamir loves showing text messages. You seen last night. You seen the episodes before. And then when she was over there in Barcelona with Sheree and them, I believe she was talking about Portia. Because why are you showing Sheree and them messages when Portia and left? Shamir hand ain't clean. And that outfit she had, I don't look like that outfit from Busta Rhymes when he was singing with Janet Jackson Gotta Be. It looked like it hurt when she walked. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It looked at a mess. And you riding there kissing these people on their cheeks or what's up. Them people don't want no love from you. Did you see how they looked at you? And you still cowing down to these women. You sit back and you say all this stuff, but then you go run back right back there to them, and you think they like you? You honestly think Angela really gonna really like you, Shamil? Be for real. These women don't trust you because the way you came on the show, you played yourself. You should have just stopped. You already knew the game because you was on the show with Portia before. But you came on, you played yourself, you played yourself, you played yourself. And with K. Michelle and Portia, that's just ridiculous. K. Michelle, please seek therapy. Jack Daniels is not the only man you need to trust. You need to trust a doctor because that's not working for you, dog. And with Pinky, Good luck, child, with your child. Bless you whatsoever. Please pick a better outfit next time. And this reunion really didn't give us nothing. And Cynthia just came out to be a bone carrier and a mess starter. That's all I got, Kempire. So y'all's gonna be good.
Okay, was that good?
That was good.
Oh,
Didn't go in.
everybody wants to know what's your astrological sign.
I'm a Taurus.
Oh, she said no, no.
I'm a
We need to,
Taurus.
we
I was
need to
born
know
May
your
15th. I'm a Taurus.
we need to know your moon and your rise.
My moon is a tiger. Can't you tell? No, I'm just playing.
So
But
pretty.
yeah.
Thanks, lovely day.
You welcome.
Take care.
Kempire.
Bye. She said she was gonna behave, and then she immediately went in. Okay. Lee Y is backstage. Lee Y, what you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm calling in from Kenya.
What's going on? What part of
So,
Kenya?
Nairobi.
Nairobi, okay.
So, of course, we are Team Shamia over here, our Kenyan queen. But I want to say, I think the reunion really surprised me in terms of who I was gravitating to. I
Oh.
think I loved, I think I loved Phaedra on the reunion. I think, I can recall when I'm thinking of iconic moments, Phaedra was definitely iconic. Pinky was real. I loved Kelly. I think Kelly really shined in the reunion. I'm just surprised that Porsha was so much more vocal on social media than during the reunion, and they really hyped it up. And it's like, you really gave us nothing. So, yeah, but anyway, that's all I want to say. Yeah, keep shining.
Thank you, lady. I appreciate you calling in. What time is it in Kenya?
It's 10:19 p.m.
Okay. It's almost time to go to bed. Thank you for
Yeah.
calling in. Take care.
Right.
Bye. I love it. That's another country I would like to see as well. Jazz. Oh wait, not Jazz. Classy says it's Virgo season. Kempire. Where's Miss Esquire? She was trying to call in, but she couldn't hear me. So hopefully, maybe she'll try again. I don't know. Something was going. StreamYard can be weird. I'm not on my usual setup either. So I don't know. All right. Maybe she'll call in again. Audrey's backstage. We're going to bring Audrey up next. Hey, Audrey, what's going on?
Hi, Kempire. You look nice in your yellow. Looks nice.
Thank
on
you. Go
You're
Brazil.
welcome.
I mean, they lost, but
Go Brazil. Okay, so I'm just going to say this right now out of the gate. I am not a fan of Porsha, so maybe people won't like me, but that's okay. Okay, so it hit me last night. Portia's a psychopath, and I'm going to explain it. So when people think of psychopaths, they think people who kill people, but that's not true all the time. Porsha lacks empathy, and this is why. When the camera cut to Porsha, when Shamia said that her surrogate miscarried, if you notice, zero emotion. Now, for television, they could have cut that out, but they kept it in. And they kept it in twice. There was the first emotion, and then when everyone had that visceral reaction of, oh no, then they cut to Porsha again, no reaction. That showed me she's a psychopath, and also she was never Shamia's friend. You would have a reaction to that because you know how badly Shamia wanted that baby boy, and no emotion. Portia's a psychopath. And so anyway,
I think you mean sociopath.
I'm sorry?
I think you mean sociopath.
Or psychopath.
Oh.
Maybe I said what I said.
Maybe
I said what I said. Anyway, but also I just want to say too, I personally met Shamia several times here in Atlanta. Pinky's right. She is so bubbly, so kind, just a sweet person. And I really just don't think she realizes how jealous these women are of her. I really think they are jealous of her. I just want to give people background. Living here in Atlanta, I'm from New York, but living here in Atlanta, I don't think people realize how rich Shamia is. She lives at Sterling Hall. Her home is in the same neighborhood as the governor's mansion in Buckhead. That is how rich she is. So notice how many times Angela mentions that Shamia doesn't need the job that she has with the Hawks. Why does she keep mentioning that, right? And so these women are talking about foreclosure. They can't afford this. Things being repoed, rah, rah, rah. Shamia can't even relate to that because she is so wealthy, right? And I think those women are jealous of her and she can't even see that. When Shamia got up, that nasty scowl, go back and look at it, that scowl that Angela had on her face and Drew, that showed me everything that I needed to know. Like, these women are mean and they really don't like Shamia deep down, and Shamia can't see it. So closing, I just want to say, I think Shamia needs to get therapy for her people pleasing if she returns next season. And I want her to enter into her villain era. I want her to show all these women, in the words of Nene, I am very rich, bitch. I want her to come into that, lean into that. I think her people pleasing comes from church. I think it comes from that whole like turn the other cheek. You must forgive and move on, that whole thing. And I agree with the other callers that Porsha likes the group because they bend to her knee, right? They bend the knee to Porsha. And if Kenya and Nene were there, it would never happen, right? And so that's what I think is going on. So I just, I just felt badly for Shamia and watching it. It's just like, to me, it just looked like the Mean Girls attacking her. Oh, and by the way, Havana, what you were talking about in the text message, Havana is, I think they were referring to Havana Nights, which is a restaurant in Buckhead.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I wonder if they were going there to film or something, maybe?
Or just to meet up. When it said like 720 Havana, it's like a high restaurant in Buckhead that like all the, people, certain society goes to here.
Oh, excuse me. All right, Audrey, thank you
I've
so much
never
for calling
been,
in.
so what does that say?
Oh, sorry, Audrey. Take care.
Oh, you too. Bye, hon.
Bye. Okay, let's bring I always mess up her name. Taya?
That's it. Taya. I'll take them both.
Okay.
Okay, so
What's going
I'm
on?
just gonna call. So I'm just calling. I think the reunion gave nothing. I don't think there's any resolution. And I will say this because you did ask the question about Shamia and Portia's friendship. One thing I will say about Shamia is I think people base her happiness on what she has, and it's materialistic. You can see she's not a happy woman. And we got to stop basing it on what she had. Just because you got a house and money and stuff don't mean you're happy. Also, with my girls, I'm basing when I'm going through stuff, you feel like my girls are going through stuff too. So Shamia was Portia's friend when she was married to Cordell, right? And now here we go. She finally gets her peach and Portia's going through a divorce. You want your girl with you there, right? But then you see Shamia is talking behind her back. They both weren't good friends. However, who needs a friend like that when you're going through all of that? It's like to me, I feel like Shamia went after Porsha when she was at her lowest. And to me, that's just not a friend. And I think people are forgetting that. And I don't think and then what's wrong with your friend being honest with you? She said, you told me this. So if my friend asked me if I wanted you to be on the show, can I be on the show? And Porsha was real with her, how she felt. How is that wrong? She was honest with her. So how is that wrong if Porsha was being honest with her about her not wanting to be on the show? And as you can see, Porsha was right. Look what happened. And then Kelly, I'd like to see her on Atlanta Housewives without Shamia. And I think that would be good. But that's really all I had to say. But thank you,
Did you say you
Kempire.
want to see more of Kelly?
Oh, God, no.
I'm sorry. This is our last day of talking about Atlanta. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
She said she wants to see more Cali. I gave her more Cali. All right. Let's bring Broke but Bougie. Broken but Bougie. What's going on?
Hi, Kempire. How are you?
Oh, well, how are you today?
Okay, I'm going to try to make it quick. I think the first thing everybody needs to realize is that these people are not friends. They're coworkers. And all of this, mamas are off limits, kids are off limits. The show has proven over the years, no one is off limits. So let's stop talking about the fake sisterhood. There is no sisterhood. These people are coworkers. The thing with like Porsha and Shamia, they're two sides of the same coin. And let's keep it real. Porsha is kind of like a psychopath. She was basically warning Shamia, if you get on this show, I'm going to make it difficult for you. Because as long as Shamia was beneath Porsha, yeah, she wanted her on the show when Shamia was single and she was married to Cordell. Let's think about it. When Shamia got married, now it's a problem. And I think the issue is with this show, and I have inside information because I have a new friend that used to work closely with the Housewives and with Andy. And he let me know how a lot of things are set up, and they also pick the person that's going to be that girl for the season. And then they plan a season or two later to knock that person off their pedestal. He basically told me Porsha is up there now because Nene is gone. When they get another housewife, a new one that is dynamic, then it will be Porsha's turn to be the one to get knocked off the pedestal. And I think
do you think that's part of the reason why they put K. Michelle right next to Andy?
Oh yeah, exactly. Look, K. Michelle is a graduate of FAMU. She's not stupid. She knows exactly what she's doing. Don't let it fool y'all. She knows exactly what she's doing. And I think the problem is, Kempire, is that all of these housewife shows, they've jumped the shark. We have a lot of fans, and I think the public is getting tired of people like Giselle and Phaedra who bring nothing and stay on the show. And I think that's why people like Rhode Island, because those people are actually friends. But I'll get more information from my friend. But when he broke it down for me with the Housewives and Bravo, he basically said that the whole series is on the way out because it's not getting the ratings. There are too many fans now, and people are getting bored with it.
Well, we appreciate you, Broke But Bougie, for calling in. Take care.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to bring Kiki up next. Kiki, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Atlanta's final part of the reunion?
Hi, Kempire.
Hey.
Oh my God, Kelly is so annoying. I can't stand her voice. Is it just me? Like, it was just like making screeching noises. I'm like, what is this? Please stop. Make it stop. And apart oh my God, yeah. And then I wish Shamia would just pay dust to Porsche. She's constantly seeking validation, and the thing with people like that is just ignore them, and she'll be fine. But like the last caller said, she's a people pleaser. So also, I do not like bows, but you know what? I'm so happy to see these white folks in Ghana understanding that in Africa we have this huge culture and personalities and everything that, just giving them a different side to see in Africa. Because I'm Nigerian and people just think, oh, feed the hungry, we live in mud houses. No, so I love to see a different side. And oh, your favorite what is it, your favorite Markle and Harry, they're going back to England again. I'm like, what is going on? But we need to talk about that in another series. So yeah.
My favorites? How did they become my favorites?
Oh, I thought you liked them.
I mean, I like them enough, but how are they my favorites?
Okay, whole of America doesn't seem to like them. You're one of the exceptions, so.
Oh, am I the only one in America that I mean, that sees it for Harry and Meghan? But okay, fine. All right.
I mean, like, they just need to keep quiet. Today, you don't want the public limelight. Tomorrow, you want, like, just pick a side, please. Like, stop. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's it. Bye.
Bye. Oh, look, poor Meghan and Harry. Everyone just seems to hate on them. Poor things. Woo. Okay. All right. Excommunicados backstage. We're going to take these last couple of calls, and then we're going to get out of here, y'all, because I've already been live for over 3 hours. For an episode we did not like, we've been live for over 3 hours. Angel says, hold on. Kempire said, don't put me in that mess, Harry and Meghan. I mean, look, I don't here. I'll say this about Meghan and Harry. This is unrelated. We're taking a sidebar. I will never understand why people dislike Meghan. I'm not going to say Harry. People still like Harry. I will never understand why people have such vitriol towards Meghan. I will never understand it. And I do believe the royal family orchestrated the amount of press, both American and British press, against Meghan. I will, and I do know that there's a level of racism behind that. There's a level of sexism because people, they oh my God, poor Harry, he was taken advantage of by this American girl. Harry, who had the money and the influence and the people behind him, took advantage of. Please stop that. Please stop that. So that's, I don't talk a lot because there's so much to talk about, and there's so much fake news when it comes to Harry and Meghan. It's part of the reason why I don't even cover it, because unless there's something like dramatic happening where it's concrete information, a lot of the stories that I see, even in American press, you could tell it's orchestrated. So anyway, all right, excommunicado, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Yeah, amen to all that preaching you just gave. For Charles and Gerard, I'm sure you know Gerard is working and Charles is just out there kind of laying around. So of course he can join the show and film. Gerard has a 9 to 5, and no one can argue against that. It's nothing against Charles. He's retired, so he can enjoy his life. But oh well, it's just roaming around. For Porsha and Shamia, I feel there is no reason why Shamia can't ask Porsha the question about teams, because Porsha inserted herself in Shamia and Kemisha's discussion last time at the reunion when it had no relation to her. But this time, Shamia actually asked a valid question, because Porsha was the one who actually started up that thing of, oh, there's teams and all of this, even before the show started airing with our initial interview. So it was a valid question to me. And I'm wondering why mothers are so off limits now for Porsha, when last reunion it was very easy conversation for she to go into and spill all the details that happened. But now it's like, oh no, we can't talk about that. It's too far. It's too far. Anyway, for me, I think the bias in this show, starting from the fan base down to the showrunners, makes it difficult to watch and is why people believe that there's a gang up against Shamia. And I mean, seeing what the other caller just said about the way they plan the seasons, I don't know if that was part of the plan, because I don't know, even from Andy. I feel like probably Andy and Porsha, they have a deal. I'll help you Andy is like, I'll help you in the editing room and I'll position you as the HBIC, and then you help me keep Nene off the show. Because the way he propped her up all through this reunion, and then Andy saw the receipts that Shamia gave. Phaedra said it on What Happens Live that Shamia came with the most receipts. I think Andy himself also said that prior to that. And if you looked at it, it wasn't just one page of text that Shamia handed to Andy. It was like a series. So I'm sure there was much more context there that provided information. That's why even Phaedra probably co-signed that. But they showed only one part of it. And I'm thinking, okay, so if Andy actually saw all of that context, and then he went on a serious XM show to then talk about, despite having seen the receipt, he was trying to say, oh, this is not the reason why say that, oh, Porsha never said that, or Porsha was supportive of Shamia, so trying to discredit Shamia's receipt on the radio show, which Porsha in turn actually co-signed and was like, oh, you are calling Andy a liar and all of that. So it just feels kind of like all of this bloody game that they are playing just to put up specific people in position on the show. And it makes no sense, because everyone is like, play the game, play the game, play the game. And for me, if everyone is just playing the game on a reality show, then you might as well just watch a casted series. Because if no one is providing real reality, then what exactly are you calling it a reality TV show for? If everybody is just there to fake it all through, it doesn't make sense to me. And I feel like if Porsha was actually a good friend to Shamia, because as much as Shamia has done her own bits now, being on the show as a housewife, but starting from the bottom of the issues, if we really look at it, Shamia's main problem and only problems that she's had with Porsha was that she discussed her feelings and her disappointments with other women. If Porsha actually didn't do some things that actually even the audience even criticized and made the women actually bring forward to Shamia and say, oh, she does this, is she really your friend? If Porsha hadn't done those things, Shamia wouldn't have anything to actually share with these women or feel hurt and talk about. And if you were actually a friend and you actually supported her getting on the show, you would want her to be successful. And at that point when she actually got the pitch, you'd sit her down and have the conversation like, oh, so I'm going through this divorce, so I can't actually do this right now. You are fine. We can, and you are my best friend, so we are going to be the duo here. We're going to make sure that the producers don't actually get into this relationship, because this has actually been a relationship that is actually valuable to me and also valuable to you. And then we'd walk through this thing and make sure that we provide a great show while also maintaining our friendships. If she was actually a real friend and actually stuck out for the friendship, because if we're actually being honest, we've seen Shamia put out her neck more for Porsha than we see Porsha put out her neck for Shamia. So if all of that had actually been done, then this domino effect that we're seeing right now, I feel like it wouldn't be here. But all in all, as it stands now, I really don't know where they go from here on the show. They both need a whole therapy session to pretend that okay, they're gonna get back together and then move on.
Yeah, I don't see it. All right.
Oh
All
yeah,
right. Thanks so much, Communicado, for calling in and sharing your thoughts.
sure. Have a great day.
You too. All right. Let me say thank you. We had oh, you know one thing? Hold on. A couple of Purple Yellow says so many deleted scenes that actually gave the audience context. There were this had to be like a record because don't you feel like we got so many unseen footage in this reunion than probably any other reunion in the past. There was so much unseen footage that they shared during this reunion. I don't know. That's weird to me. Andrea, I did not watch it yet. Andrea asked, "Have you seen Candy and Pinky's interview yet?" I haven't, but if I do talk about it, I'll be talking about it tonight on Patreon. So make sure you follow me on Patreon. Scan the QR code on your screen. Scan the QR code. Okay. Let me say thank you. We had a couple of super chats. Queen Rez, thank you for the super chat. Queen Rez says, "Please, people pleasing comes from church." Wow, that truly makes sense. Honestly, thanks, caller. Duchess Door, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Duchess Door says Kelly has a shrill voice. When she argues, she tries to be the loudest one, and that pitch is irritating to the ears. I had to turn my TV down. Oh my gosh. Wow, Kelly. But Kelly's coming back next season. Kelly's coming back next season. All right. Let me get these couple of last callers, guys. But before we do that, don't forget the Kempire After Dark live show returns to New York City on September 25th at the Green Room 42. Go get your tickets today. Scan the QR code or head on over to KempireAfterDarkLive.com/NYC or hit the description link as well. This is not your normal Kempire show. This is After Dark, okay? So things will be said, tea will be shared, meet and greets are available, and if you can't make it to New York City or will be in New York City, get your live stream ticket, and you'll be able to keep that for 1 week after the show, okay? Also, guys, be sure to check out all of our sponsors for today's Real Housewives of Atlanta recap. All of their links and discount codes will be available in the description. I do want to remind you guys that Danielle is still collecting for the 5th annual Women's Hygiene Drive in the DMV area, helping the unhoused women of the DMV area. Just some of the basic things that you don't even think about that people that do not, have a home will need, including those of you that might be perimenopausal. Dr. Frida recommended that we add fans to the Amazon list. So we've added the fans. Shout out to those of you that have already donated. If you can keep on donating, that would be greatly appreciated. We're still collecting, at least for I think the next week. If Danielle's in the chat, you can confirm. All right, let's bring up Live Well LA. Live Well LA, what did you want to share?
Hey, so I took some notes. I really got to get my points out. I hope you're doing well. I really want to talk about the fact that people won't let us talk about how bad of a person Shamia might be. I think her first season was when Britt Eady exposed her for actually wanting to join together against Porsha. We also had K. Michelle talk about Shamia talks about Candy being Big Tigger's allegedly his side chick. And then Shamia and
I think K. Michelle was referring to the host that asked the question.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, and then Shamia and her mother are always constantly building alliances. And then Kelly kind of inadvertently said Shamia lied about K. Michelle popping up and trying to start something at the table with Shamia. So I don't know. I mean, people keep bringing up colorism. Of course, I'm a dark-skinned woman. I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't exist, but I also feel like we need to be talking about how bad of a person Shamia seems to be. Also, I think this constant conversation about Shamia, you need to flex on them. You need to show them why they're jealous. You have so much wealth. I've watched Shamia's channel, and to me, her YouTube channel, Shamia looks like a regular vlogger. She's not giving wealth that is unobtainable to people that would give opulence and luxury. I just don't see that. So this constant conversation about Shamia flex on them, Shamia show us the money, it's not going to happen. And it might be because her husband is uber conservative, being a West African or East African man. I doubt that he's letting her spend money frivolously how we would probably want to see it. But to just assume that all these women who have followed their passions, like Angela's been, flipping real estate, Drew has been in acting and singing her entire life. Like these aren't women that would be, everybody's followed their path. I don't think the money is something that they would all be just jealous of. Just a blanket, everybody's jealous of her money. No, we don't even get to see it. It doesn't look that great. I mean, Sterling Hall looks nice, but I'm just not somebody that is impressed by Shamia's money. Just getting a bit more of a like personal look into her life on her YouTube. It seems like, she's a mom. She takes her kids on Disney cruises. They go on vacation. They visit his
You know how
homeland.
much a Disney cruise cost? I'm playing.
I mean, yeah, but it's not something that like, they shut down the cruise and took the entire ship. I don't know what kind of money people are expecting to see.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I just feel like Shamia's doing what, Porsha could do or what Phaedra could do. I don't know what type of money they're looking for Shamia to flex on them with. And I don't know if she has access to it in the way that we may think.
Okay. Thanks
All
for
right,
LA
thank
for
you.
your thoughts.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye. I mean, yeah, when people talk about Shamia showing the wealth and stuff like that, I don't get that even from just her being on the show regularly. So I'm like, I don't know what you guys are going to expect her to stunt on these other women. She lives well, but it's not giving like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? And that could be for a variety of different reasons. But anyway, let's bring up Lee next. Lee, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Hey, how are you?
And how are you?
I'm doing good. So, I think the season was really good. I'm gonna miss it every Sunday. Um, I like the dynamics in the beginning of the season. I really thought that it was going to be people who were alike going against each other, and then in the end, it was completely different. Like I thought Pinky and Kelly were gonna feud, but no, in the end, they're friends, and I kind of like that. Like how the season wasn't too predictable. I do think that the friendship between Shamia and Portia is over. Not that I ever really thought that there really was one. So I'm not really sure why Shamia made it a big deal about being Portia's friend this whole season, because you've made it a big deal on how she's not a good friend to you. So, in that aspect, I don't really understand Shamia, but with like the Angela situation, Angela, in my opinion, was wrong. But she just didn't also have like a good explanation of why she said what she said about the whole George situation. I understand what Angela was saying. She said she didn't accuse Shamia. She was just asking Shamia, as like how Shamia asked her, how Shamia asked Drew about Dennis last season. But at the same time, it just didn't land well. And it's like constantly coming for somebody's marriage is just a low blow when you know how it feels. So I understand that. I do still like Angela a lot. The only one on the cast that I don't really like is Kelly, but I also do think that Kelly is kind of good for the show because she's not afraid to be an antagonist, which is, it's like the Whitney Rose of it all, right? Like it's like, oh, here she go again, like but it's like if she's not here, she go again, then what's the drama? Like what's the season about? So do I like her? No, but is she kind of good for this cast? Maybe, So, and I also want to see her come back she has to redeem herself. Like, I love when an underdog, like, can, recover. So, I want to see that happen. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't like, the only like critique I really, really have of this season is I don't think that anything flew. Like, and there was no flow power. Even this reunion, I think all three parts were a hot mess. Like my head cannot comprehend what's going on. Like we're talking about one thing, now we're talking about the girl in Pinky's basement. It's just like, what is going on? I just, but other than that, I really did enjoy the season. So yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much for calling in, Lee.
Okay, talk soon. Bye-bye.
I will have to agree with that. There really was no resolution. Based on what everyone thought they were going to get from the reunion, we didn't end up getting. But they probably were like, we'll resolve it in the new season. No one cares. Look, no one cares. All right, Damien's backstage. We're going to bring Damien next. Damien, what did you want to share?
Everyone thought they were going to get from the reunion.
Oh, I didn't hear myself in the background.
But they probably were like, we'll resolve it in the new.
Okay, I'm going to mute Damien's mic. Damien, there must be a delay. All right, I'm going to bring Damien down. Let's bring up Makai next. Makai, what did you want to share?
Oh, I just had one last thing to share about Snow, because somebody had brought up how the husbands on Jersey, they have like a good repertoire with each other. So like, why don't they have that like in Atlanta? I could have sworn, maybe I did my research wrong, but if I remember correctly, because Jersey was one of the first family, or like it was based around families to begin with, they paid the husbands in Jersey. Like they're the only franchise I think that actually pays the husbands. I could be wrong. I'm not. I don't
I've
know
heard
my
mixed
research.
things, because recently Margaret came out and said that the husbands don't get paid, but I've heard other people say that they do. So that seems to
You
be
said they don't get paid.
Margaret Joseph recently said that the husbands don't get paid, but I've heard different things over the years.
Yeah, well,
maybe her husband.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's what I thought. So like again, the Jersey might be the only franchise that again husbands at that point were getting paid. Now this whole new cast, what is it called? Shake up that they did this season of Jersey. I don't know if any of these girls are married, but besides the OG, besides the vets like Melissa, Teresa, and Dolores, but outside that, I don't know anything about those other girls. But regardless, Jersey was one of those built ones that was like, yeah, we're gonna pay the husbands. Maybe they'll do that with Rhode Island too, because their husbands are very integrated and they do give mini Jersey. But outside that, none of the other franchises pay the husbands, so it's like that's probably why they don't care for the husbands to get along or have a community, right? Like so.
Hey, but we found out that Ralph got paid.
Well,
and
yeah.
took 50% of Drew's salary at one point. Allegedly.
Well, okay.
All right, Makai, thank you for calling in.
No problem. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. All right. I stayed here for 3 hours and 30 minutes. You guys ate up my Monday afternoon, which is fine. We had a good kiki. We had a great callers. Thank you to everyone that sent in super chats, Venmos, Cash Apps. I always love it when I go into my Cash App or my Venmo and I got a little lunch money in there. So thank you to everyone that supports any way that you can. And you can support just by liking today's video. So like today's video if you're watching this. And if you're listening to this on the Kempire podcast, subscribe today on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, and give us a 5-star review, because that does matter. So if you haven't, we have over 1,600 of you here. Do me a favor, go over to your favorite podcast platform and give us a 5-star review. We appreciate your support. And make sure you're joining the mailing list, thekempire.com/join. I'm going to put together a nice, good, juicy mailing list this week. So stay tuned for that. And don't forget, the Kempire After Dark live show returns to New York City September 25th at the Green 42. Meet and greet tickets are available. Live stream tickets are available, so you can watch from anywhere in the world and keep it for 1 week after the show. I will see you in New York City in person on September 25th. Ticket information will be available in the description. And thank you to all of our sponsors for sponsoring today's long live. Okay. So thank you to them. More information on our sponsors and your discounts will be available in the description. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday and a great week. I'll see you guys more than likely tomorrow for Tuesday Takeover. I haven't decided what time we'll do that, but we'll be definitely talking about Ultimate Girls Trip and some more hot topics. Okay? Everyone, I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you to our King's Guards. Thank you to our channel members. Thank you to our subscribers and new subscribers. Okay? I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, y'all.
Here we go now. Here we go.